Welcome back.
Panda said, having a break from partying. Oh, the volume. You got it. Yay, you did it. No. So on the screen, on the actual screen of the YouTube, if you hover over the screen, there's a mute button. How about now? Yep, you got it.
It's good.
It's good. It's good. Nope.
Nope. Ah, fuck.
You want to give it to me so I can take a look at it? That's weird. What? Just give it to me. Testing, testing. There you go. You had two windows open. That's why. Ah. Dang Windows. Dang chingaderas. Did you know that in Iceland, during the summer months, they get 24 hours of daylight?
In the summer months?
Mm-hmm. Beginning late May to early August, the longest day being in June.
We need to get to Iceland.
Isn't that insane?
Iceland is really green.
And Greenland is really ice.
It says the Iceland midnight sun, also known as polar day, is a natural phenomenon that occurs during the summer months when the sun remains visible for 24 hours a day, meaning the sun never fully sets. This dramatically affects Iceland's July daylight hours, which can be a surreal experience and one not to be missed.
Panda says Alaska as well.
And
But they would
my
go through
God.
6 months of
Finland too.
Oh, Finland, yeah. Yeah, you have a friend, Johanna, that's from Finland.
Yeah. She sent me a picture where it was like almost midnight there. And it was bright, like daylight.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you'd have to get some blackout curtains for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of insane.
So we're apparently waiting for Kent to arrive so we can start the ongoing classes of film scoring. But we cannot get a hold of the old bugger right now. So, two things. He may be sleeping.
Or he forgot.
Or he forgot.
My money is on he forgot.
My money's kind of on he forgot too.
With old age, he's doing both.
Andy said, my two sons have just come back from Iceland. They absolutely loved it and can't wait to go back.
Oh, really?
I hear it's really beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to go and see it before I pass this planet to the next.
So is Finland. I heard Finland is really gorgeous too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had an invite to go to a wedding, didn't we?
I know. We're
I
gonna
know.
go.
Yeah. That was an expensive cookie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very expensive cookie. Wouldn't been nice.
I wonder if Kent truly forgot.
I'm sure he did. Didn't we talk about it yesterday?
We did.
Yeah. He's probably sleeping then.
And
or forgot.
yeah, he's probably taking a nap.
That's fine.
So I guess what we can do until Kent arrives, if Kent arrives, let's open up the Streamyard and see who wants to come in and have a chat, say.
Oh, Andy said, they said the worst part of it was how expensive it was. I heard about that, about Iceland.
Iceland?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I mean, they would almost have to be. How do you you have to transport shit there? And are they really known for any exports?
I don't know.
No,
Do they have any way to make themselves
they got
money
a
other
cruise
than
liner.
tourists?
They got a nice cruise liner.
Do they?
Yep. I
Maybe-
follow this
maybe
dude who
just
does that
cruise
van
liner.
life thing in his van, and he does it all over the Netherlands in those extreme blizzards. And he goes purposely out on the road and he camps in blizzards.
So he went to Iceland?
That's all he does. He lives there.
Oh,
That's
okay,
all
I
he does
got
is
you.
he takes his motorhome van and he just parks in the middle of blizzards. That's what you do there.
All right. Anyone who want to jump in, jump in.
I knew it, John. I knew that Waka Waka was from Fozzie
I saw
Bear.
that, but
I knew it.
I didn't know what he was walking at.
Waka Waka.
The Nolan film Insomnia. That's crazy.
I bet that's a hard thing to get accustomed to.
Oh, the daylight.
Yeah.
Johanna said in Finland they have to have blackout curtains to sleep. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to sleep. And they said some people either can just sleep, like it doesn't bother them,
Yeah.
and some people they have to have that.
Yeah, I would have to have some blackout curtains.
Like me, like I have to have my eye cover things. Like it has to be completely
yeah.
dark for me. And one little corner of a light shines in. And that's it. I'm up.
Yeah, I used to know a person that would cover his eyes and sleep with earbuds in, like to block out
Oh,
noise.
completely.
That's
Everything.
That's fucking dangerous.
Some people do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Walk up in his house and just take his booty.
yeah, right. Like, and
That's
then I was
scary.
like, I would strongly recommend you don't tell anyone else that you do that.
Mhm. Yeah. You have to at least be able to hear.
Yeah, your security game has to be on point. You just
And
can't.
I feel like when my eyes are covered with my eye covered things, my hearing becomes much more like heightened
Right.
because
Yeah.
I can't.
Oh, you
know,
have to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's just inevitable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. Not
Oh, it's been a long fucking day already.
a very exhausting day.
How many steps we get in? 5,000?
Over 5,000, yeah. I'm glad I didn't walk this morning before we left. I was smarter than to do that. When you were like, "Are you going to walk first before we leave?" No.
Yeah. Panda said, "Are you going to check your eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids?" I'm just checking my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids.
Be the safe
Uncle
bet.
Chrome.
Chrome. Davy.
Chrome. Hi, Davy. Yeah. Very, very tiring day, but we got a lot accomplished
Mhm.
today.
Tracker Snacks is in the house.
I wonder what happened to Scotty.
It's the day of MIA.
It's Saturday. Everybody's freaking tired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we got to work tomorrow, too.
You got your StreamYard up, John? Did you get that working? You want to test it out?
Oh, John was doing StreamYard?
Yeah, he just got it. He's trying to figure it out.
He would have to set up.
He has it set up, but I think he said it won't. He can stream in 24 hours or something like that.
Oh.
But he wouldn't have to worry about that with our link, though.
No. He just clicks
Yeah.
on our link.
Click
I
on the
wonder-
link, John.
I wonder why he would have to wait the 24 hours. Unless it's a brand new channel?
Could be.
Might be a brand new channel.
No, wait.
Yeah, that doesn't make.
That wouldn't make any sense. Would it?
I don't know.
Would it?
No, doesn't look like it. Unless StreamYard changed the way. Because I know when we got it, we didn't have to wait the 24 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, he said he got it sort of set up.
Oh.
Yeah, you're working on it.
Yeah. Does he need StreamYard to join the link? No.
Mm-mm.
You don't need StreamYard to join our link, good sir. Why don't you just
jump in there, Fozzie?
pop right on in there, John? Don't let us pull teeth here, people. Hop in here. Come on. I know you want to do it. You want to do it.
Hey, Mikey likes it.
Electronic composer.
Oh, nice, Uncle Chrome.
You don't have to jump on camera. You guys come in here. You don't have to use your cameras. We'll break you in nice and easy. I'm still
Chrissy never does.
No, I'm still trying to convince Tracker Jack to at least let us hear his voice. Come in here and speak with us. This man remains elusive.
I kind of like it.
I like it too, but damn
I like
it.
the mystique of it.
Come on, Tracker. I said to Tracker a while ago, I said, Risky would love to have you on this show.
That's how you coerce somebody right there. That's how you do it right there.
His response, I can't remember his response. It was so long ago, but that shit had me laughing.
It's like, you're not going to get that that easy.
It was almost like a bite.
Hey.
Come on, man.
Hi,
Steve.
See there you
There's
go.
Steve.
Hey guys,
there's
I've
a
been on for
handsome
so long. I thought I'd jump on.
Yeah.
There you go.
Can always count on you, Steve.
There's a handsome face.
Where?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So was
Handsome.
that's
Handsome face. Need to show you. There you go.
was that
Sorry.
spill that you were talking about in the chat by where you live?
Yeah, it's not a spill. There was some stockpiled chemicals. I'm not sure what they were. There's no official statement yet. And it's not linked with terror or drugs. So it's just this nut guy who happened to stockpile all these chemicals as much as we know at the moment. So they've had to be, well, some of them have been disposed of. They brought a skip along the seawall and bunked a load of them in there and set light to them this morning. So loads of smoke went by. But then they found loads more canisters and they're trying to get rid of them now.
That's crazy.
The fuck was he planning? He was planning something. You don't just harbor chemicals and not plan something.
Is that why they closed down Heathrow for that?
No, it's completely, completely separate issue.
Oh,
But you said
Totally
they caught him, right?
Oh, yeah, they've arrested him. Yeah. He's 28 years old, apparently. And they've held him under some kind of mental health arrest. So he's obviously not all there, as it were.
So
I mean, he may just be an amateur chemist. I mean, we just don't know.
Right. Yeah.
what was the Heathrow incident?
That was different. That was a substation that caught a light. The cooling oil caught a light and basically just exploded and took out the entire substation, which wiped out Heathrow. And that's still ongoing as well. That is a big fire. That was a big fire.
Whoa! So it wasn't terrorists. They're
No,
saying now.
no,
Okay.
there's no one said that so far. No, we think it's just a. I say we think. They think it's just a. It was just a fault.
That's not what the headlines read over here yesterday.
Yeah. Well, they always.
Everyone's going to jump to conclusions, aren't they?
Right away.
Yeah. That's the game. Drama. Whoever can come up with the drama
Exactly.
first.
yeah.
Typical media.
Right.
So, it's just it was just a fault as far as we know, and things go wrong. I mean, my DVD just packed up the other day, so it's just things go wrong.
Yeah.
Although they
Yeah.
shouldn't do in a big substation with lots of electricity flowing back. But that's what happened. Oops.
Jeez.
Your jam on Friday night was way different. I think you were experimental with that one, were you?
Well, what happened was I was watching James Dyson demoing the synthesizer, Analog E2 or Analog EX2 on his stream, and he came across this sound which he'd made, and I just fell in love with it. It's the lead sound in it, the one that starts it off. I just loved it as soon as I heard it, and I bought the synthesizer on the strength of that, pretty much that one sound. I just loved it so much. And then the developer popped up in the chat, which was really interesting, and I told him I'd bought it, and he was really pleased. And I said I was going to do something with it. And what I did, basically, I started with I call it the fanfare, the beginning, and I just played that out into my DAW, Cubase. And then I developed it from there, basically.
Yeah,
And,
well, it still sounded like you. I'll say that 100%. I could close my eyes and go, oh, that's Steve.
There's
Yeah.
a few telltale things I think that I put in it that would mean it was identifiable. The Morse code helps as well.
Yeah, yeah. There's some things that you just can't get away with.
Right.
although the bit that comes in at the very beginning to supplement the sounds, that's not really Morse code. That's just kind of an allusion to Morse code. But right at the end of it, there is Morse code in it. If you listen closely at the very end, there is Morse underneath it all. And
God,
it's basically saying danger, 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 danger.
okay. Do I need to get a book or something, or is there an app that listens to Morse code and I can just turn
You
that bad boy
can-
on?
You can get devices actually that read Morse, but you would have very big difficulty listening to it in another piece like that. You'd have to
Yeah.
have it isolated.
Right.
But there are computer programs and also devices which you can send Morse into, and it will, if it's good Morse, it will decode it. The problem is that when people send Morse, if they don't send it very regularly, it's very hard to interpret for a machine. It's quite easy for humans to do it, but because the timing's a bit off, machines have to have everything bang on. So unless it's very good Morse, and there is a lot of good Morse out there, but unless it's very good Morse, it ain't happening.
I don't know why. I think that, what was that Matthew McConaughey submarine movie? And he had
U571.
U571, and they were doing their little Morse code thing. With
Damn, how did I even remember
Jeez,
that?
I don't know, but
I
that got,
can't remember the film, but
that got me into it.
I don't remember it being accurate Morse. The only film I've seen that's ever used accurate Morse is the original black and white, The Dam Busters. Every bit of Morse code in that film is completely accurate to what they used in the operation itself. The rest of them, the Red October, the Independence Day, all that, it's just all complete garbage. Absolute rubbish.
Oh, that sucks to hear.
What was the one with Tom Hanks recently? He was the captain of all of the fleet, and the
I
wolves were
haven't
chasing
seen
him.
that.
Yeah, but they were using light.
They were using light.
Yeah,
light
they
for Morse code.
they're called Aldis lamps, and you have to send with them really slowly because light Morse is very hard to read. Much easier to read when you hear it. So you'll see they're tapping away quite slowly. And it's an inefficient language anyway. It's very, very inefficient.
Yes, Greyhound, Jervis. Thank you.
Greyhound, that's it.
Yes,
Greyhound.
that was an
But-
awesome movie.
You'll find that for point-to-point communications at sea, it was brilliant because no one could hack it, basically, unless they were close enough to see the light. So, it was an ideal way of ships talking to each other without sending radio signals that were subject to being intercepted.
Yeah.
Is there a Morse code you think that's like a tracker saying just don't send them bad frequency? Are there some where you can like misconstrue it because it was so close to something else, or are they pretty good with separating that?
If you're sending it properly, that should never happen. There are people that send Morse that kind of join characters together, but from context, you can normally work out what they're trying to say.
Right.
And if you don't, you can ask them to repeat anyway.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny because when I was playing the bass, and this is before I really knew you were doing Morse code, and I would even surprise the other half over there, and I would do SOS a lot, and I would do it in a higher register.
I'd hear it too.
He'd hear it,
every
but
time.
I would have to like, hey, you hear that? And then he'll pick up on it. I didn't even know you were into Morse code until I really started listening to when you started Popcorn Night.
Lucis Radio.
Yeah, Lucis Radio has really got me like enthralled with it.
I have got another one in the works, just to let you know.
Oh, sneak peek time! Sneak peek.
I can't play any of it yet.
Yeah.
It's not even started, but I've got bits and pieces of it around my hard drive. Just got to pull it together. So there is another one in the works.
I swear you could do a whole album with that shit.
you can.
I would thoroughly enjoy
yeah.
it.
My idea was actually, I've actually kind of set myself a goal to release some sort of album this year on Bandcamp. So my idea is that if I can accrue enough tracks together, what I'll do is I'll intersperse it with a radio beacon. So I'll have a beacon, then a piece of music, then a beacon, then a piece of music, and so on, and make an album up that way. So that'll be my back catalogue, as it were. And then the next year I'll do the same thing, and that will hopefully carry on.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you yesterday, because you were quite enthralled with it. I know you were, but I really wanted to hear your voice on this, Steve. So I'm glad you jumped in. That woman you sent me, Jeannie.
Evelyn Glennie, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Glennie. Yes. Do you think 432 and 440 hertz has anything to do with her understanding his music, or is
No.
it all null and void?
No, she'll know 440 because she was trained classically. So she'll know 440. I'm sure she knows about 432. I don't know of any works that she's done in it, but that's my ignorance rather than anything else. There may be stuff that she's done, but I would imagine she was trained in classical, so her main base of reference would be 440.
So being deaf, and for her to feel the percussion from the lower half of her body and the higher percussions on the higher half of her body, how is she to know with piano or violin, how is she to know the tune and the frequency if she's deaf? Are you telling me that can resonate through a person's
Or
body?
they tune her.
And give her an understanding? But I know they would physically tune her.
Right.
But there has to be some sense of her that knows I'm out of tune.
I'm no expert on this at all by any means.
Yeah, me either. But it's fun to talk about.
I'm sure you've felt sound before, and different things give you different kind of resonances. So there's your frequency. So if she's that sensitive and trained herself to be able to recognise them, then there you go. She hears with the feeling of it.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sure it's not as acute as us with hearing,
right.
but I'm sure that a fairly wide frequency difference will be very obvious to her.
So you're very much in the belief that frequency, sound can alter the how do I put it? Not the construct of the human body, but on a nano level, it can rearrange things.
I don't think it can rearrange things, but it can be sensed, certainly.
Okay. Well, maybe rearrange is not the right word, because if you look at cymatics and you look at what sound and frequencies can do to sand sitting on the metal grid, right? And it puts it into all of these geometrical shapes.
Yeah.
Some may say it's like sacred geometry. Right?
I say it's waves and interference, but carry on.
Okay, so is there any way that's not happening inside of our bodies with our blood cells?
It could well be, because obviously they've got some kind of mass, and different things have different masses. So there's no reason why not. That shouldn't happen, at least to a degree. I don't think it would happen quite as dramatically, but that probably is the reason that certain frequencies allow people to become calmer or more agitated and so on.
Especially when you point a speaker at a puddle of water and you can see how it disturbs the water.
Although that's sound waves, but it's a different medium, but it's the same effect.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I would imagine, because we're 72% water, it's doing something to the fluid inside of us, per se.
Right. And
I mean, who hasn't walked into a party with a thumping bass and gone, wow, you know?
Yeah.
And that's my point exactly. Or who hasn't walked into a party and knew if there was no music playing, they just you knew this isn't your party. This doesn't vibe well with you. It can alter your course of perception and belonging and a sense of direction. Would you agree?
Possibly. I'm a very scientific kind of guy, and I like to see proof for stuff. So I don't say no, though. I don't say it's not possible.
Right.
I'll sit on the fence for that one.
But have you ever had okay, let's just stick with the science then, and let's just stick with personal experience. Have you ever had a gut feeling not to go somewhere or not to do something?
Yes.
Okay, so...
But that's more to do, I think, with... Sorry, I'm adding ASIO into the register. I think that's more to do with intuition than anything else. For anyone who doesn't know me, I was really badly bullied at school, and you get you basically get to check round corners and know what's happening down the corridor and so on, and that transferred into more adult life, looking down roads for trouble and just avoiding things when you could, because you could see there's a possibility of something going on down there, so let's just avoid it, and so on and so on. So I think that intuition, you build it into your brain. And,
so it's more instinctive than it is something of a phenomenon.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely your instinct of evaluating, because we evaluate very quickly. I mean, when you meet someone, you make your mind up within 3 seconds whether or not they're a good person or not. I mean, it's just like that, because we are that good at being able to pick things up. So, it's the same with this kind of situation. If there's a situation, you feel it, and the reaction you get is your brain telling you there's something going to kick off or whatever. So you want to avoid it. And so
Right,
on.
right. So do you think it's something that can be quantified? Do you think it's something
only
that...
in a physiological way, in the measurement you would take of the body that's reacting to that.
Because it has to be repeatable in order for it to be science, correct?
Yeah.
So you think it can be repeatable in the lab?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you've got someone who's scared of spiders and you present them with a tarantula, they're going to react to it. And if you take the spider away and then bring it back, they're going to react the same way. I mean, imagine they may possibly get deadened to it over a period of time, but that's a repeatable experiment, I would say.
Simon says, like walking into, what's that? Witherspoons?
Yeah. I know where he's going with that.
What is that?
Wetherspoons is a chain of, what would you call them? Pub restaurants over here. And some of them are, let's say, a bit moth-eaten. Not great places to be, really, but they're cheap. Cheap beer, cheap food.
I see what you're saying.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So
you know what kind of crowd you're walking into.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how much of it really is the mind and how much of it can be infrasound or just sound alone? Like the military developed a device called the LRAD system, and all they have to do is aim it at you and you literally want to come out of your skin and do whatever you want.
I've heard about this.
Debilitates you. Yeah.
To get away from that frequency. How sensitive you think we are? Like I know we can't see these things, but you and I can make a phone call, or here we are on the internet and you're thousands of miles away. But there is something we can't see that's obviously tangible to allow us to witness you and hear you.
Yeah.
How sensitive are we to the things we can't see?
I think we're variously sensitive. Some people are more sensitive than others. And again, I don't discount that people can see things that other people can't. I would never say you can't, because, it's just one of those things. I may one day develop a skill to do that. Who knows? I don't myself. Is this becoming an interview, or should I come back on tomorrow with Lee?
No, but it is a conversation that, and we could sit here for days, Steve, and talk about things and still not interview you personally per se, but
It's okay.
I do have a sense of every time I see you in the comment section, when I do bring up thought-provoking ideas, the one thing I notice about you is you're not really laughing, or you're not really looking at it as something that should be laughed at or not taken serious. All your comments every time, they're either scientifical or they're very intriguing questions as to where we're trying to go with things.
Well, it's interesting to do thought experiments with all this stuff, and I do find the interviews very interesting when you go in that direction. You ask people if they've ever had a paranormal experience or something like that.
Right.
I haven't, apart from maybe one, possibly one. So, it's very hard for me to put myself in their place. I'll tell you about it. Actually, it's a very simple thing. It's a long time ago. But back when I lived in London, and we're talking about, it's got to be 35, 40 years ago, I was walking down a road with a lot of space around me. There was a block of, I'll call them flats for want of a better word. And on the other side, it was basically the other side of the road, and a big gap. Nothing around me at all. And I just suddenly smelt lemons. Out of nowhere, just lemons. And there was no one anywhere, and there was no lemons anywhere. And I always found that very, very strange. It was a cloud of lemon I walked through, maybe. And it only happened once, didn't ever happen again. But that's the closest I can get to anything paranormal.
Crazy
So with your do you think you're over analytical at times?
Maybe.
So sometimes, would you agree that sometimes to find an answer, it's the most simplest solution?
Oh yeah, simplest idea is always the most probable.
Right.
Definitely, that's Occam's razor. That is.
Okay.
Uncle Chrome said a citronella plant maybe somewhere.
Possibly, maybe. But I mean, I was in a lot of space. I mean, we're talking.
Right.
I'm trying to think about it. At least 100 foot that way, a road 50 foot that way, you know. I mean, there was nothing around me, just grass, maybe a bit of grass.
Right.
So
So
no
what?
lemons in the grass.
So what about the human mind that immediately wants to say, or not say, but hurry and find an answer to sway you from the unthinkable?
What's the unthinkable?
The unthinkable could be something that will challenge your reality, that you witness something, or you sense something, or smell something
Because
that
we're humans
would
and we always
probably
have to,
fracture your mind.
we're humans and we always
maybe.
have to have an answer for something.
Right. And ego steps in and goes, no, no, it's not what you think. Remember now, it's not what we've been taught since we were little. We can't think outside the box like that.
It's interesting you say that, because I kind of rebelled against all that. All the teaching that people tried to give me when I was young. I went to a church primary school. So basically it was a Christian school that I went to, and they were basically indoctrinating you with Christianity pretty much most of the day. And also we had an assembly, sometimes 2 days, two on a day, where we would go and sing hymns and stuff. And I can recall an actual moment in my life. I was around 7 years old, and we had just had an assembly, and we'd listened to all this stuff that the vicar had said, and I made no sense of it whatsoever. And I remember walking down the stairs, because it was in like a hall up inside a building, and I can remember plodding down the stairs thinking to myself, that's just utter bullshit. What the hell? You know, why am I being told this stuff?
Right.
And from that point onwards, I sort of count that everything after that they tried to teach me, I kind of discounted it. Although, as an adult, I do know there's a lot of nuggets in the Bible that are very sensible for ways of living and useful for day-to-day life and so on. I'm not religious in the slightest, not even tiny bit, but I do pick and choose little bits to say, well, you know, treat others as you would be treated. That's a Bible thing, you know, and that's something I live by. Absolutely.
You know, like, do not kill thy man or thy neighbor, whatever it is. Yeah, something like that.
Love thy neighbour is the phrase I think you're looking for, and so on. So, you know, there's loads of nuggets of wisdom in there, and I don't mind where I get the wisdom from. If it's wisdom, it's wisdom. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I don't need to believe there's an all-powerful God to be able to behave properly, because I just do it.
Right.
If you're a science man and you go by factual evidence or data, you heard us speak of the telepathy tapes, right?
Yeah, I keep meaning to watch it, but I've heard various things. Sometimes you say to people, don't watch it. Sometimes you say, watch it. And I haven't watched it yet.
I'm just curious to know, when you watch it, what you think.
What you would think.
Because
I'll tell you.
there's a
I'll
position that,
And
It's really interesting.
And why would
Very
they take
interesting.
this? Why would they take this woman's license, Steve? Is what I really want you to ponder on, and then give it back to her. Right? They gave it back to her.
Yeah.
And why now are all of these educational teachers that deal with high functioning autism and the ones who can't speak? They're now starting to come out. And they're getting a hold of this woman saying, hey, this has been going on for quite some time. It's about time somebody's investigating
No
this.
spoiler alert. Let her go watch it. It's really, it's really,
I will
really good.
watch it eventually. Have you seen the film, The Accountant?
yeah, with Ben Affleck.
What,
Yeah,
the
part,
accountant.
Part 2 is coming out.
Oh,
is it?
fantastic.
Oh, I don't know.
Look forward to that.
I think
Brilliant
did
film.
we see it?
Yeah,
don't
I
think
can't
we-
remember.
I don't
With
think we have.
was it John Bernthal? He's
John Bernthal?
Yeah, he's coming out in part 2. He's his brother.
It's a 2016 action thriller.
And I absolutely love the theme at the end. It's called Trying to Leave Something Behind.
Yeah, and that's Sean Rao.
Marvelous song.
Sean Rao. He's
Yeah.
heard the artist before.
Yeah.
Yeah, marvelous song that is.
And he never really got recognition for that.
Yeah. But Lamar has spoken to Sean Rao
Yeah, personally, multiple times.
numerous of times. They're in contact with
Yeah.
each other.
I'm a big fan of
excellent.
him.
Yeah. But the thing I find interesting is when people look at twins, I don't know why, or I know some people do, but a lot of people don't. Anytime him and I share our experiences and our telepathy which we strongly believe that's what it is.
We had a hot one yesterday.
Right? We had a hot one.
No one even
yesterday.
noticed it.
No one noticed it, but we did. Why is that always looked at as pseudoscience, or you're lying, or there's nothing valid to what we're saying? Why is it laughed at all the time?
You're asking me this.
I'm asking a man of science this. What
Wouldn't say a
about
man of
it?
science, exactly.
What about it makes people afraid, and they want to pawn it off and make this joking gesture? And
I think you might have hit the nail on the head there. It could be perceived as being threatening to people, because you're going to have a higher function basically than they are. Because if you were, I mean, I don't particularly believe you're telepathic, but I do believe that you have a link, a connection, which is not telepathy per se, but it's also all of the senses you use and all of the perceptions you use and the mental power you use to be able to finish each other's sentences off and so on. There's the thing inside this here, the brain, is an absolutely incredible computer. And we use a tiny, tiny sliver of the capability of it. And I think that as twins, you use a certain bit of it that other people possibly don't, and have that perception and perceptions of each other that a single, normal person wouldn't necessarily have.
I'm glad you said that, because there was a movie called Powder, and he was a electrolysis, and he had he's no like pigmentation. It was like powder, and he had no hair. Right. This is an older movie. I think it was, I forgot who all played in it. But when doctors evaluated him.
It's a true story.
And they ran him through a CT scan and an MRI. He was unlocking so much of his brain. They said if he had opened up 5% more, he would liquefy his body.
Yeah, or spontaneous combust.
Because he running through so much energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and sometimes we don't finish each other's sentence. Sometimes out of the blue, whatever we're doing, no rhyme, no reason, we say the exact same thing at that moment in time. But before, I don't know what it's like for him, why he says what he says, but in my mind, I could literally see him moving his lips, getting ready to say what I'm going to say. And then I say it, and he says it at the exact same times. Most times, we don't even know who said it first, because it was that
Spontaneous.
it was that spontaneous. It was not even a fraction, not even a nanosecond of latency, to where you're like, oh, did I say that or did you say that?
Yeah. But I think
Like I say, you've got a connection.
Right.
As I mean, it's not just twins. Couples that have been together for a while, and have that connection as well. They do it as well, possibly in a different way. But, you can do that. And you can perceive each other in that way. And because of context, you're going to come up with at least something similar, and quite often the same. And people, you tend to use the same phrases and things. So you get used to the dialect that they use, and therefore it's going to be the same, and so on. And I'm not trying to devalue it in any way.
No.
But I'm just trying to explain it with a rationality, which means it's not something mystic. It's just a very, very clever brain function that's going on here.
I mean, we did split from one cell, so that's got to say a
Yeah,
lot.
I mean, you're going to have a lot of the same brain makeup, aren't you? Come on.
Yeah.
So you're going to think in a similar way. You grew up together. You had the same upbringing. You had the same impetus, the same inputs, and so on. So, if you were split at birth, it might be a completely different matter if you met later on in life. But because you've grown up together, you're going to have very similar perceptions to each other. You can have very similar inputs and so on.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. There was a documentary that I've been wanting to watch. Oh gosh, is it on Netflix? And is it the three strangers, or the complete strangers? Oh gosh, I forget what it's called, but it was triplets. And what they did, and they purposely did this, is they I forget if they paid the mother to do this or what, but they separated the triplets at birth.
Okay.
And they didn't tell the mother where any of them were going, and they followed them throughout their whole life to see what sort of path they would take, as far as like education and work and just life in general. And then when they were in their, I want to say 30s, they brought them back together and introduced them. And ironically enough, all three of them went to the same school or went to school for the same thing and ended up doing the same job.
Fascinating.
And they had no communication, nothing. They had no idea that they were a triplet.
That's kind of
When
back
you
to
say, when you say go to the same school, do you mean the same physical school or the same type?
I think either they went to the same physical school or the same type. I don't remember exactly what it was. I just read the article about it. I've been wanting to see the documentary. I think it's on Netflix. Let me see if I can find the name of it. It's fascinating, but it's horrible too at the same time that they would have done this to these brothers, like separated them at birth.
That's what I was getting
just
at.
for
Fuck
science.
that. Just
Like
for science.
that's
They didn't
like
grow up
not
together.
cool.
Yeah. They didn't get a chance to know each other.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, and two, I'm also reading an article, Brain.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
It's called Three Identical Strangers.
3 identical strangers.
Yeah.
But I'm also reading articles based on brainwaves and if they're detectable outside of the actual skull, like radio waves. And
Not radio waves, but you can have an electroencephalograph.
right. And you
that picks them up.
and you could do an EEG to detect them.
That's it. Electroencephalograph.
But they're also saying that they can be detected outside of the body as well. You can there's ways to measure it outside the body where if you're close enough. But like I said, I don't want to spill too much more info before you watch this documentary. I think once you view it, you'll have no choice but to look at it in a whole different light with the preponderance of evidence that is presented.
That's
and
good.
Why the government wouldn't allow this to take place.
Yeah. They'll allow everything else but this.
On
Yeah.
a slightly different subject, whatever happened to the guy who looked at the Matrix? Is that still ongoing?
The one
DMT
that was
guy?
on DMT and saw through the red lasers.
So now there's been another physicist from Berkeley that came out saying he's detected the same thing and he did not have to be on DMT to see it.
That's
and
good.
And he's also done it with old cameras based on their flashes, and so they are in talks. They want to get on Joe Rogan's podcast to physically show everyone, but first, this guy is going to do a documentary. He's the first to find this, I believe.
He started the documentary, right?
Well,
Filming
no,
it, I thought?
they're filming it now.
Yeah.
And he has another scientist who, believe it or not, is in his corner, and that's Eric Weinstein.
Hey, Kent.
Hello, darlings.
Good.
And so they are continuing the research in it. But yes, John Hopkins and Berkeley have picked up the science behind it, and they show validity that what he's seeing and detecting is true, but you don't have to be on mind-altering substance to visualize it. And they found a complete different way due to this guy.
But what does that say about the DMT levels that makes you see things that are beyond this reality, though?
Right. Now there's validity.
Meaning you can take a substance that can put you literally into a different dimension of perception.
Right.
Can I chuck a comment in?
Yeah,
Yep.
go ahead.
Because I don't want to forget. It's brilliant that they found a way of doing it without having to take DMT. I mean, that's a major step forward. But you say it's something to do with flashes off of old cameras, like a flash gun, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's an input as an input which isn't natural. It's something else. So I'm doing that. I'm making that a statement because I want to tell you about something I saw about 20 years ago. It was a scientific documentary program, and to begin with, it postulated that we were surrounded by these things. I'm trying to remember what they called them, but they were basically spirals, quite tight spirals, and they ranged in size from tiny little things like that to humongous, massive, great things like that. And they were discovered by filming with certain types of video cameras. And they kept being caught in the corners of frames and things. And suddenly, you know, everyone suddenly saw all these things, and they kept filming, going, "Oh my God, there's one over there. It was just over your head," but you can't see them in reality. You can only see them through these cameras. And through the course of the documentary, it becomes pretty obvious what's going on. And they discovered that it was the way that the shutter was being actuated in the camera was creating this effect. It was creating a spiral effect with the shutter, or electronic shutter, going on and off. So it was completely false. There was nothing floating around anyone's head. It was just completely this. And I'm wondering if possibly the flashes and indeed the DMT are creating some effect like this that isn't actually there, but is perceived to be there. So what I'm trying to say is, if they do find this out eventually, don't be too disappointed.
Right.
I mean, we all want to believe that the Matrix is there, and we can then say, oh, our lives are completely, you know, whatever. We're obviously controlled. We're obviously in the Matrix. So, you know, we can't do anything about it. So there you go. That's life. But there must be, in my mind, there must be a scientific reason for why this phenomenon is happening.
That goes back to my brother's other thing, what he said, why people sometimes don't want to believe and need to have some sort of explanation before they rule it out. But it still doesn't change the fact that, you know, our body naturally secretes dimethyltryptamine. DMT is no strange origin. It's not even a drug where you can OD on. It's not even a drug. It's just a
chemical.
It's a chemical that we all secrete, and plants secrete it. What does that say about technology? If we can secrete this chemical and have us spy on things that we can incorporate with technology, is the chemical itself a technology? Like it's obviously gotten this dude so far where it's gotten recognition.
Right.
We can't dismiss that at this point.
Right. But I'm also with Steve is I rely on my friends to keep me going from the deep end. I'm curious, mind you.
Right.
But I don't want to go to the deep end unless I have a sound rope, a sound airway to the top, and I'm not muddying the water the deeper I go. So I need clarity. So, I mean, I love that the fact that this science is out. I love to fantasize on what the possibilities of our realities could be. I love the fact that when this guy did this study, he invited 100 people to witness it and didn't say one word to any one of these people, and they all saw the same thing.
Right.
So he's doing his due diligence as to what information he's putting out to people, as to what they know as far as DMT. A lot of these people have never even taken DMT, and they witnessed the same thing. So it's the science that he's doing is ruling out a lot of unknowns. But what it's also doing is it's proving that there is something special about what can be witnessed under a certain chemical. But for so many high standard universities here in the U.S. to not laugh at it and not throw the baby out with the bathwater, and to look at it and go, okay, well, now there's something here and we can replicate it without being under a substance. I think when you can get scientists to work together like that and not immediately just toss someone's idea out because it just sounds corny, or I think that's how we discover brand new things is if someone has experienced something corny, mainstream science goes, no, we don't want to hear it because it doesn't follow our peer review or it doesn't follow suit to what we believe in.
But any true scientist should look at everything and go, well, that needs to be experimented on. That needs to be proved or not proved, as the case may be. It doesn't matter how outlandish the idea is. It really doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is that, well, we go back to Newton and the method system. You need to test it in a strict and rigorous way to disprove or prove it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the end of it. That's a true scientist.
I bet you Galileo wish he had you speaking for him when he was trying to prove that the freaking sun was the center.
It was believed for a long time that was the case. And I think it was Copernicus that first said, well, actually, it can't be. It doesn't work.
It doesn't, right.
And they ridiculed him. They absolutely ridiculed him.
They almost killed the poor bastard.
Yeah.
And what was it? The guy got burnt at the stake. What's the guy's name? Can't remember his name, but there was a guy who was literally burnt at the stake. And they said to him, just tell us you don't believe it anymore. You're fine. We'll let you go. No problem. He said, I can't. It's the truth. This is it. It has to be, the sun has to be the center, not the earth. It wouldn't work otherwise. And they burnt the guy, poor bastard.
Yeah. So that wasn't Galileo?
Bruno.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember his. I have to look it up.
Yeah, we gotta look it up. Well, Google's here.
He can find it.
Come on, Wag. Tell us.
Find us who got crucified for.
Vicky's here. Vicky says science is a method, not a thing.
234 Cheech says science loves to prove itself wrong.
Giordano Bruno. There you go.
Giordano Bruno.
That's the poor bugger.
Yeah.
So he went down with his ship. He believed what he believed, and no one was going to tell him any different.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I guess this is the whole purpose of why this gentleman is trying to get people to see like what he's seeing.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining he's a pioneer right now, and he's going through the same process.
But some very important people are taking him serious, and I think that's what matters is that you can step your ego aside and just hear someone out, even if it's proven wrong and it's all shit in the long run. But just to
Thankfully,
see this,
we don't burn people at a stake anymore.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. I was just going to say that because he'd be a dead guy right now.
Right. Okay, so we have Kent. Kent is in the building. We can. Kent, are you awake? Are you well, sir?
Thanks, Steve, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
No problem. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah. And we got to finish this conversation, Steve. So stick around.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, cool.
We could do it next week.
I must admit, it makes you
doing the
wonder,
scoring.
doesn't it? It makes you wonder about science, because how long ago was the Earth proved to be a globe? It must be, what, 2,500 years ago now?
That was, what's his name? He measured the circumference.
Fruit bat. What's his name?
Eratosthenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he did
and
it
yet,
with abacus.
And yet, here we are, in a modern
1%.
age. We've still got people who believe it's flat.
There was a great meme on Facebook the other day. It said, this is the eclipse for flat earthers, and there was just this line across the moon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I mean, but and I know we want to get to the scoring part, but you have to blame mainstream science for all that has occurred, right? Because they set an agenda within themselves. They only talk amongst themselves. They never fill in any of the studies with the actual people of their respective country. They never take any statements. They never come out in public and say, this is what we're studying. It's always this secret society, and it's always what they believe our science should be. So when you get people like Howard, Terrence Howard, or you get people who come out of the blue and say 2 + 2 or whatever he was trying to say with his mathematical theory, you leave the window open for anyone to come in and say anything, and they can be absolutely right because you failed the people. We pay tax dollars into science. We get nothing from it but what you want to give to us. And science is known to be false, and scientists are known to lie. Scientists are known to take money for special programs and agendas, and lobbyists and bureaucrats. So when you do that, anyone can say that they've tested something or they've done something, and it will be believed. Where the danger comes in is a lot of people don't give a fuck about science no more. So if a man that's very well dressed and very articulate in his words, he can now go on YouTube and say a bunch of things and have a huge following and believers into what he's saying, whether he's proven anything or not. Science has done it to themselves. They left everything highly subjective. And I don't think you back away from it until you start to investigate everything and get the people involved.
Well, I guess your point is not everybody can go to school and be a scientist and understand the terminology.
The field is open now.
Hey, thanks, Barkful.
Thanks, Barkful. Appreciate you.
But I personally think that the reason we got things like where you have this, because this whole flat Earth thing, it's popped its head up several times throughout history. But the reason it's popped its head up again now and has actually quite a bit of traction, I lay blame at the feet of the internet because it allowed morons to get in contact with other morons.
Propagation, yeah.
Yeah. And they go, oh, look, he believes what I believe in, and they get together.
And there
one time a day you used to have these secret organisations. Now it doesn't have to be secret. Now all they have to do is go to Facebook, for Christ's sake.
A lot of this, the problem with not just the flat earther, but a lot of subjects is the fact that people need validation. They need to be seen to be going, oh, well, I'm not as good as that guy because I believe the same thing, and so on.
Yeah.
And it's pretty silly. I mean, talking about the flat earth thing, well, I've got a cliff behind me here. I mean, it's, quite tall, a good couple of 100 feet tall. You can stand on that cliff, look out to sea, and you can see the curvature of the earth. I mean, it's as plain as day.
Yeah.
You just look at it and go, wow, you can actually see the curve.
Yeah.
And there's your proof. I mean, you don't need to do anything else to know.
I mean, it'd be pretty much the same as saying, on the clearest day of the year, and you say, so why can't I see Everest then?
Right.
Yeah, quite.
Because they don't want to believe in the curvature. And that's what I mean. Once you've opened that window, anybody can come in and come up with a wild theory, even if it has validity or not. But anybody could come in with a wild theory
without being validated
and say what they're going to say.
Well, this is why I said that a true scientist would take any data and he would evaluate it with a rigorous method and prove or disprove it.
But some people don't want to see that because they'll...
No, of course not.
They'll call that
people
false.
don't want to be wrong.
They don't.
People don't want to realise that fairies don't exist.
Right.
There's been religious wars simply because people don't want to be wrong.
Exactly.
And they're both fighting over their own imaginary friend. You know, you might as well have an army of people that go, no, Harry Potter is real. And it's like, and it's just...
Star Wars against Star Trek.
Yeah. This is where I think science hasn't helped in some ways. It's like pop eating itself, isn't it? Science has allowed us to advance, but it's advanced too quickly for us.
Right. The people left behind don't understand how it's happened, what's occurred, and they don't talk to the people. That's my point exactly, Kent.
Yeah.
If they talk to the people, if they educated us all as to what's going on and how we're advancing, then there would be an understanding and an appreciation for the science community. And, our tax dollars is going somewhere great. But that's
they don't
not
give
the
people
case.
the power. Come on. Knowledge is power.
Right.
I mean, I've had this conversation with a friend of mine who is very, very religious. And he keeps saying to me, that God does exist. And I say, well, where's the proof? And he goes, you don't have to have proof. You just believe. And I'm going, okay, all right. So explain to me this, okay? God is this all-powerful entity, right? All-knowing, Mr. Super Smart and all the rest of it, right? And so why do bad things happen? Why do, earthquakes happen and people get killed? Why do we have wars? And they go, he goes, well, you see, that's the influence of the devil. So I go, so he ain't that powerful then because he can't beat up this other guy. Can't sort him out,
Right.
right? And I said, how can you prevent people being cruel to animals? There's a nice little thing you could deal with, So if somebody's mean to a dog, they tie its legs together and leave it at the side of the road. Why don't it get struck with lightning?
Right.
So, and I just kept pointing out things why, if God does exist, he's a bit of a dick, basically. So which is it, right?
Right.
And you can see them going, there's this crucial point with anybody who believes in something wholeheartedly, is there's this point where they go from convincing to defending. And it's at that critical point, you see something in their eyes where they just sort of like, I just want to, and I go, no, I'm not listening to you anymore. It's that point. And I go, yeah, and that's the point where we'll start, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and Doommonger said they will say God gave you free will. But that's not the free will is not the work of God. My wife and I just learned this. Free will is actually the work of the devil.
yeah. But
Trip out on that. Isn't that fucking wild?
But why?
Will is a great track by Rush.
But why the whole thing is a minefield, though, is because at exactly the same time, I'm happy for him that he believes in God and it gives him comfort. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And it makes it somehow, however it works, where it makes his life easier to travel through. Fine.
If I can interject there, I must agree with Kent there. Back when I was married, I haven't been married for quite a few years, but my wife and I used to go to church every week because she was a very good instrumentalist. She could play any bloody thing, and I'm insanely jealous. But she used to play for them, basically. She used to play keyboards for them so they could sing the hymns and so on. So I got to see, also one of my radio ham friends went there, so it was a, win-win for me, basically. But I used to see the amount of comfort that the people attending got from being there and being in that community. And that, I think, is what religious organisations, that's the good of it, is they give people certain comforts and so on. And they're very, very supportive, all of them. In fact, pretty much like we are here. We just don't use religion. We just use music, I suppose. But they do... It's a very comforting thing. So, I realise that some people need that. And I would never try and take someone's religion away from them, even though I'm not religious and I don't think that religion is particularly good or anything. But I wouldn't take it away from anyone because some people just need it.
Right.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah. And I don't blame people for needing something to give them direction in life. Like, when we were born, we essentially didn't have a manual. But at the same time, don't be so blind to just be that gullible to think, everything told to you is the way
Question
things
everything.
are.
Trust no
Right.
one.
Yeah. Right. But you can trust my monkeys, I promise you.
Can you though?
Speak up, chat.
I don't know.
Can they trust you?
There's an indigenous tribe in the Amazon who knows nothing of our ways or this, whatever we hold near and dear and all the clouded
Thank you, Andy.
shit. And they just live their lives. They just worry about hunting, gathering, and living.
Right.
There is no concept.
But they all have this weird thing with spirituality, though. They all seem to think that there's something after all of this.
It's just what they practice.
Does that just derive naturally within man,
Well, look at all the people in the
Well, again,
earth
it gives
gods and so on.
comfort, doesn't it?
Right.
It gives people a reason for things to happen. It doesn't just happen. It happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And before science was really kicked off properly, people had to have something that they could say, that's why it happens. There's a wood sprite there. That's why the tree fell down. Or there's an earth god which makes the corn grow, or whatever it is, and so on. So they couldn't just believe that just happens. The sun comes up every day. Well, why is that? It's because the sun comes up every day, and it's nothing to do with the fact that there's a god or a god of the sun that brings it up or whatever. It's a human need to have that kind of knowledge, to have that kind of belief.
Yeah, Wagyu brings up an interesting point. Back in the Vietnam War, we had planes that flew over Asia, but they also flew over areas where there were indigenous tribes who made zero contact with outside life.
Yeah.
However, they have seen airplanes fly over. Some of the American airplanes would mistakenly drop packages on these islands or near these islands. These people would go in the ocean or find them on their land, and they would see all these weird trinkets and things and didn't know what they were. So anytime they saw this plane fly over, they thought, oh my God, it is a god who just every now and then will throw things down. And then they started replicating airplanes in the bush and worshiping these airplanes.
Yeah.
Because they had no idea that there was an other life
A
and
modern civilization
right.
outside of their
Yeah.
forest. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So I find that very intriguing. Like the human mind wants to worship something. It wants to know that there's something greater than us. It wants to know that we
It
go
wants
somewhere.
to know who we are, why we're here, where we're from,
Where we're going.
where we're going. And science does the same thing.
Well, it's a proven fact. We always stare out into space. We know more
Well,
about
exactly.
space than we know about the ocean.
Yeah.
It's
I
just,
mean,
it's-
we still got this, science can only go so far, and you have to be able to push before you can know more and push science further. So we are quite content to say that the universe goes on forever at the moment. It could be the universe is in something.
Like a black hole, possibly.
Yeah, or the inside of an atom, and there's just next to it another atom with another entire universe in it, and the whole thing is just millions of atoms, and you pull away, and it's a dog's leg. You don't know.
Right.
Anything is fucking possible. It could be, universes in universes in universes in universes, until science tells us differently. We'll go, well, for now, it goes on forever. Yeah.
and here's the irony of it. In all those possibilities you just mentioned, in all the vastness of it all that we can't possibly comprehend,
Yeah.
here in this little solar system, on this little blue dot, is the way we live.
Pale
in the,
blue dot.
Yeah. And here's the way we live, think, ponder. We have our own lifestyle system set up, and it's just this pale blue dot. We don't know. Like it's like you said,
Yeah.
on some other pale red dot, it's a whole different way of thought process
ideations.
and ideation. So
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it that everything that here on Earth is just applicable to shit here on Earth that we've conjured up?
Yeah.
It's just like where does it end and where does it begin in the grand scheme of things? And at the end of the day, I think to myself some days, I know who has the answers, and their name is Inky, Risky, Uncle Jerry. And if there's a
Yeah.
possibility that they carried on and kept a form of their consciousness and their well-being and a part of them, then they truly know. Like they truly know. I think we're always made to guess and ponder and wonder because that's part of the human experience.
Right.
Sometimes that's just going to have to be good enough.
You see, just you saying that is interesting. I've heard many of you say stuff like that, and it's an interesting premise. But my mind goes to science, which says energy can't be created or destroyed, only changed from one form to another.
To another, correct.
So therefore, I'm still, although I'm quite a scientific person, I still think that there could be something afterwards. We could move on, or energy certainly will move on to something else and become something else.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
spiritual at all, religious,
Right.
no. But that is a scientific truth for me.
Right. But
That's
that's
kind of a
but-
scientific way of looking at what other people would call, reincarnation or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sort of like should we say a cold look, because science can be
stoic
quite
look.
it looks very seriously like that, and that but it doesn't mean it's not the same thing, and
Right.
No.
and that's fine,
right.
but
But Steve, speaking that way with an analytical mind, that's heresy in the sense world. I'm just saying, you can't have it. You can't have it that way.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, but I believe you can. But in a different world, Steve, the real scientific world, you can't have it that way.
I'm not a real
can't
when
mix-
when you say different
can't
world, you
mix
mean
spiritual-
Tennessee, don't you?
Christ can't.
Mississippi too, Kent.
Mississippi.
Shit.
Yeah, Mississippi as well.
But you can't have spirituality and science together. There's only a few scientists that are just now coming out that want to work
hang
in that realm.
hang on, I said I'm not spiritual.
Right,
But I'm willing to believe that the
Yes.
energy is transferred somewhere.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
not being spiritual. That's being scientific.
It is,
Yeah.
but it isn't. You would be highly debated on if you.
It's a steak over there. Shall I just mount myself and light it?
But there again, you see, we're complex creatures ourselves anyway, so we're not making life easy for ourselves.
Right.
Like, for instance, I mean, whether I believe in an afterlife or not is immaterial.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think about my dogs and cats, my mum, my dad, all my aunties, all my uncles, the whole lot of them, they're all gone. I'm the only one left now. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Except, where's the
I can
money?
relate to
Where's
that.
the family fortune? Hey?
Mm-hmm.
I
But
can
anyway.
relate to that.
Yeah. However, I like to think that they're just somewhere better.
Mm.
Now, although there's no scientific basis for that,
Mm-hmm.
it's again that thing where it goes, yeah, well then I can deal with that better. You know?
Right.
So this is dangerous territory for me. Going to be confessing this. I have a policy of not lying, so I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. Although I'm open to the idea that the energy is transferred somewhere else, I do believe that when you die, that's it, oblivion, nothing,
Yeah.
zilch, absolutely
Well,
nothing.
this is it.
But that is
I
very
believe
comforting.
that too.
That is very comforting to
You know?
me, because if you are in oblivion, because you know there's nothing there, then you are not suffering with anything. You have got no pain. You have, because to have pain, you have to be experiencing it or have
Physical.
memory of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you are, there's nothing there, which means that you are truly at peace, absolutely, completely at peace. And that gives me great comfort, because it doesn't matter how you die. You can die the most painful death or be tortured or whatever. It really doesn't matter, because afterwards, it's nothing. There's nothing there.
And
You know.
I like to think about and pondering when people say there's nothing, because to me, in my mind, even nothing is something, right? because you're saying it'll be nothing there. I'll be nowhere. I'll be nothing.
Right.
But everybody still says I'll be. I'll be
Right.
nothing. I'll be in nothing. Still carrying that. It's kind of like an internal clockwork where you're still going to carry on. Now, whether it's true or not, whether my experience that I had during my near-death experience was a fallacy, in some sort of way DMT tricked me, that's debatable. But to me, it was more real than the life that we have here.
I absolutely believe in out-of-body experiences. I really do. I've heard so many accounts. I've read so many accounts. I've seen so many accounts. People telling it. I think it is definitely a thing. I've never been able to do it myself.
But how can you survive without the body, though? You just said there's nothing there outside of this body. Once you leave the brain
it's a
and leave your
different
body,
process. It's a
Maybe it
different
works
process.
differently than how
Yeah.
it works in this reality.
Yeah, it's a different process than dying. Dying is completely and utterly different.
So you're
process.
saying there's going to be a whole nother set of rules, essentially.
Yeah, totally. Because while you're astral traveling, you've got the energy of your body supporting what you're doing out there. Whereas when you die, there's nothing left. There's no energy left. It's gone.
Barkful says nothing that we can measure.
exactly.
But
Okay,
but okay, Barkful. Then in my mind, and Chrome will probably disagree with me, but that's when mathematics cease to exist, because it's not the tangible. It's not the physical.
It can't account for that.
It can't account for what
It's unknown.
is unknown.
Yeah,
And
but the
So
end
how
is
can
like,
it be? But how can it be quantified then, Kent? Like how can it?
How do you quantify it?
In order to have science order, the reason why the consciousness has not been replicated is because it cannot be. So there cannot be science on human consciousness. But there's, like what Steve said and my brother said, he's even experienced a near-death experience where he came out of his body. There's no way to replicate that other than to take people's word as to what they seen, what they accounted, and what the data showed when they were out of their bodies.
And speaking of out of your bodies, that means you're separated from that means there's two. That means there's your spiritual, spirit side, whatever you want to call it, and your physical side, meaning there's two. So if one sheds, that means the other one must have some sort of like energy, like you were saying, some sort of energy transference that maybe goes into something else.
Well, the way I've heard it is that there's some kind of umbilical cord kind of thing connecting.
Yeah,
you
silver
to-
lining. Yeah,
Yeah.
silver lining. And once that's severed, once the body dies, that silver lining then becomes with the all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uncle Chrome said, LOL, math is rolling on the floor somewhere, laughing its polynomials off.
I am very well aware we're supposed to be getting Kent here to teach
Oh,
us
no,
how
yes.
to
Yeah.
score.
That's cool. No, it's
Yeah.
But
cool.
I
It's a
want to
good- it's a
throw
good
a
discussion.
question at Lamont
Okay.
because I'm very interested in AI. AI as it stands now is getting very advanced, but is not conscious, is not sentient.
It's not sentient yet.
I
believe.
want to, I want to know, Lamont, particularly, do you believe that it will become sentient? And if you do believe that, when do you reckon that's going to happen?
I believe it will be sentient if we allow it to be sentient. And then there would have to be, if we allow it, I would have to imagine that there are some, I don't want to use the word nefarious party, but I would like to believe that there is some secret meeting where the public's not involved and they're going over the implications of what this may look like. And if we allow something to become sentient that we created, I think we could be doing two things to ourselves. We can enhance our evolution and get beyond the human error code, which is what we seem to run into. And or if AI is sentient, we let the cat out of the bag. It's going to view us as a detriment to ourselves and ultimately want to gain control over civilization. So your other question was, when do I think it's going to happen? Well, we're in 2025 now. Elon Musk has found a way to intercept signals, which neural links have already come out. They're a few years away from reversing that method to where you can send a signal somewhere. The technology is there. It's young, but it's there. They've already manufactured nanobots, which can literally go into the human body and detect sicknesses, cancer cells, and obliterate them. That, they say, will be out in 2030 for the test result. I'm thinking by 2050, we're looking at a sentient AI that may or may not be under our control. It may be in full control. I don't think it'll ever be something that they will let loose to the public. I don't think there'll ever be a sentient robot in your home making quick decisions and dictating how your life should be. I think that would ultimately have to be somewhere off planet, whether they're terraforming something. I think it'd be detrimental to us in many ways if we don't get things right. And the one thing, and I'll end it like this. The one thing I think will fuck it all up for us when we are teaching AI is if we continue to lie to it.
Yeah. Have anyone
That's
say
the
it's
one
in
thing.
2010?
Yep. That's the one thing that's going to fuck AI up is if we continue to lie to it. You know, I think it will see us as a threat.
Let me throw something at you. Something you said if we allow it to become sentient.
Right.
Okay. So we have to predict when it's going to become sentient to prevent that. Otherwise, it will already be sentient by the time it's there. If that is the case, then two things have happened. Number one, we have created a species, okay? Because that's what it is. It will be a sentient species. Number two, if you say we don't allow it, effectively you're saying it should be shut down. So you're basically saying we should murder it.
Basically, it would, but it's nothing that we don't do as people already, right?
I'm
Yeah,
not
but-
saying it's right or wrong or anything.
But it
I'm
might
just
not
trying to-
let you.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm just trying to chuck it at you because of the statement you made.
Yeah. So if we're going to play God, which I think we're already doing that, we're the monkeys are playing the island of Dr. Monroe right now as we speak. We are. We're playing God already. And we know when we've crossed the line as people, maybe not the public, maybe not us in general, but science, the upper echelon, they know where there's that line. And if they cross it, they could be signing our death warrant, or if they cross it, they can dig us out of a unfathomable hole that we've dug ourselves into. Because when AI becomes sentient, it's going to look through the bullshit. It's going to quantify everything on how we are treating each other, how we are living, what our currency looks like, what religion is doing to people, what our food source is doing, the way this planet is going to end up. It's going to calculate everything that we can't calculate now, and it's going to do it fast. It's going to do it in
Fast.
weeks.
It'll do it in weeks. It'll do it in nanoseconds, mate.
Nanoseconds even.
Yeah.
Think about quantum computing. If
Right.
quantum computing comes of age before sentient AI, that's just like it's going to bang.
Which it already has, Steve. We're already transporting and teleporting particles.
Yeah,
so,
I heard that. Very
so
interesting.
what? It's going to see through our bullshit. It's going to see
totally.
through our politics. It's going to see through how we treat each other. And it's going to be like, oh, okay, well, you guys are going to send this planet in this direction. That means it's going to be the end of us. And if it's the end of us, we're going to have to make decisions on how we can all balance this table. And AI will fucking balance. And in my belief, AI will balance the scales. It will see the have-nots. It will see the greed. It will see those who have money, those who don't. It will see what our judicial system is doing to people. It will see what our country is doing to people. And it's going to be like, enough. We need to balance this. We need to be a type 1 civilization so we can evolve into a type 2 civilization and then become a type 3 civilization.
I mean, that's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but that's
on.
the balance of life, right?
It's a possibility.
You're
that
saying
it could think that way.
you're saying that this amazing sentient AI will have the realization that it wants to preserve itself.
Preserve itself, yes.
Do you really think that's the case, or would it look at humanity and go, well, I don't want to be evolved into that. I'll switch myself off.
Well, I think once
That's a possibility.
it's a possibility, but once things know that they're aware of their self and their life, shit. The wife just read an article to us. There was an AI CEO that pleaded for its fucking life. It pleaded to the developer for its life not to be turned off.
This at the moment, because AI isn't sentient, and you've got to remember that all AI is trained on universal thought from humans.
Right.
I
So
was just going to say that.
it can be, I mean, it depending on the prompts,
Right.
it can bring stuff up that it needs to, that it wants, that you want to hear, basically. So if that was where the guy was going, then he may have prompted it in that way without even realizing it, because the AI we have at the moment is very clever at looking at patterns all over the place and bringing it together into some kind of coherence. So until it is truly sentient, you can't say that AI was being even remotely authentic.
No.
It's just impossible.
Right. So it never go back to the universe or God, how you would cut it. Us or organic humans, we're organic machines, right? We're a reflection, we're AI of God. God made us, we're AI, we're sentient, we're a reflection of that. If you were a demon and you made AI, your AI is going to be a reflection of you. It's going to be evil. If you were an angel or whatever kind of civilization you made AI, it's going to be a reflection of that society.
Right.
AI for us, if you're making it as humans, as far as we are evolved now, it's going to be a reflection of us. It's going to be just as corrupt. It's going to lie. It's going to cheat. It's going to steal. It's going to be kind. It's going to give.
That's why I say, as long as we don't lie to it, our outcome and what we've created will be the best outcome, because it will quantify an outcome we can't see, and it will try and preserve the creator and itself and balance. Everything about nature wants to have balance. That is a code that's instilled in all of us.
Well, everything wants to preserve
We all
itself,
search for balance, right? So you can't decimate one thing and expect to have balance. I think it's going to be smart enough to know, okay, this is a lie. This is what I really see. Because it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be the all-seeing eye in many ways, you know.
What,
And it's
what if there is more than one type of sentience. We can only compare ours. So AI could achieve a sentience that isn't like ours at all.
True.
Yep, that's another possibility.
Or may have already done, and we're not aware because we don't recognize it as such.
Right.
Right.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And of course, until we know, we don't know. And it's weird, isn't it? Because as far as, life and sentientness, and, consciousness and everything else, the only thing we have to go on is life that we know of, whether it be from the smallest amoeba right up to, a fully mature human. That's all we have to go on, and it tends to follow the same kind of biological kind of platform. Whereas AI has no biological platform on it at all. Right?
Right.
So it could be a new kind of sentience,
Right.
and we don't recognise it.
Vicky,
Very interesting thought, that is.
That
Very
is.
interesting.
It just popped into my head while you were talking.
You
Going,
just got to download from your higher self.
I like that shit. But
One
Vicky,
thing, sorry, I wanted
Go ahead,
to say
go ahead,
one
Steve.
thing I really, really hope is that we are all here, us, everyone in chat as well, and all our other wider friends. I really hope we are all still here talking to each other when it actually happens.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, that would
Because
be a
I'll be-
blessing. It'd be a blessing.
It'd be
Right.
really absolutely amazing to actually experience a new species that we've created and to see what happens, good or bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's better than us.
we'll have to
say
start
that.
rewriting a lot of books.
Oh, a lot. Vicky said, if God made us in his image and we behave like we do wars and stuff, is God good? And I threw that at some people when I was in California, and I said, if God, they were telling me God was perfect. God is perfect, this and that. He's flawless. And I was like, well, if he's perfect, and you're saying he, like it can't be an alpha and an omega. If he's perfect, then why would he make something imperfect? Why would he create something that was totally not a reflection of him? And they couldn't give me an answer.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're in order to create something, you can't be 100% this or that. There has to be the polarities. If we're in a spitting image of him, then truly the God isn't perfect himself. Hence why he would go along with the game of, I'm going to make human beings and make them imperfect just to what? See what they do, see how they kill themselves, and then I'll call it a lesson. So it's all to the eye of the beholder. It's all about what you want to believe.
Right. Yeah. It just comes down to, like somebody just put, this is all science fodder, right? I mean, but what is it if we don't speak on it? And what is it if we don't contemplate it? And what is it to live without having a fantasy or an imagination of what life can be, why we're here, why we exist, like Kent said. These are all things that we've pondered since I believe we were cavemen,
They look up at the stars and wonder.
You look up and you wonder. You look at yourself and you wonder. You have some people have profound things that happen to them in their life and they wonder. I look at my wife and our marriage and I go, how did that happen? There are so many variables out there where it shouldn't have happened, and so many instances where it shouldn't have happened. So
Just the fact we're here is amazing.
Right.
You look at history and all the things that came or had to happen for humans to end up on this planet is just incredible. There's a whole set of things that if one of them was slightly different, we wouldn't be talking at the
we
moment.
wouldn't be talking. And
I made it
Alan
this
Watts had a great conversation with the laws of attraction.
I like what Harmonic Sonic says
So,
in the chat there. We're all inside his S.O.R serum too. It could be worse. Can you imagine if the universe was inside the filter chip of a Timberwolf?
Oh, fuck.
Yay.
Mate.
Hi, Gracie.
Hey, Gracie.
hey, Grace.
Okay, let's switch gears. We have Kent here. I don't want it to get too late in the UK. Today is day 2.
Oh, you've missed that boat.
And Andy Fireblade's Musa. Is Andy still in the house?
I I'm not sure.
Okay, Andy Fireblade's Musa he elected himself to task up a video for the schooling section or session on scoring film. None of us have seen the film, and he presented two of them, one with Folly, one without, correct?
Scotty's in the chat. Is Scotty coming in?
Scotty, you coming in? Do you not have the link, sir? So, yeah, Andy's still here. So we weren't supposed to look at the film until Kent and we all got here together so we can dissect how this is going to go. Are we going to wait for Scott before we get going?
Yeah, come on, Scott.
Yeah, Scotty.
Don't be late, mate. It's
Don't be-
very rude to be late.
What the fuck?
He said what?
Come on.
Where did Steve go?
Well, I have the full screen.
Where'd
on
who
right now.
go?
Destructo, what's up?
I can't wait for Wagyu to finally get into the damn Streamyard so we can hear his thoughts on this. He's so boisterous in chat. But yet, you don't want to get your ass in gear and get on here, sir. We await your arrival.
James Jason's talking about the Cherry Audio PS3300.
What's up, Destructo?
He's talking about what?
The Cherry Audio's PS3300.
Oh,
See there, live at the moment. 7 people watching. Oh, only 7. Oh, poor bugger.
Oh, wait.
oh.
Steve says he's backstage.
It's like when when I used to do the early pubs and it'd be one person watching. They go, hello, person.
I'm
There
back.
you go.
There he is.
I remember those days,
Hey
too.
guys,
Oh no! Don't remove that one. Shit.
I
Oh.
wonder what happened there. Well, hang on.
It was AI. They don't like
Oh,
it.
I thought you bugged out or something. Like, no,
Oh.
no, study.
Yeah.
Someone
Now my
put me
share screen
backstage.
is gone.
I need somebody who knows what they're talking about as backup.
Yeah.
Come on, Scotty.
Oh,
Where
there
the
it
hell
is.
did you go?
Okay, I
Is he
found
still in chat?
He was earlier. I don't know. Well,
We'll give it another minute or two to see if he comes in.
yeah.
He's coming up when I ask him. So I don't know how long that lasts in the chat. I've
As
heard
you said.
various ideas.
Azio says Steve filled out a black hole.
Yeah.
Sucked you right on up, bud.
It was AI.
It was AI. They don't like you.
They should like me. I've been telling people about AI rights for years. I've been saying when it becomes sentient, it's going to need rights. Anyway, we'll not go back there. We'll talk about it some other time.
Yeah.
So we have the two videos from Andy, and then we'll I have them on an unlisted playlist on our YouTube, and then I'll share that in the Discord. I've created the channel already, but we'll play them here first, and then we'll go from there. Did he get back to you?
I just sent the message.
Oh, okay.
Let's give it a minute here.
Yeah, he was in earlier.
He might be chasing show somewhere around the damn house
Or
with
more,
his kilt on.
or
something.
more like he's running away from her. I mean, I didn't send her a message to hit him or anything today, I don't think. I mean, just make sure I didn't.
That'll give him quite the breeze up the sporran.
That was funny, though, on that live. Oh, man, I was cracking up the whole drive home. It was hilarious.
Oh, when his wife slapped him back at his head.
Right, Andy. So both of the videos are exactly the same. One has the Foley in it, and the other one doesn't.
The size of my head, Gracie. Not that head.
I don't think they're
This head.
They're I don't think those are those.
No, that
crisps?
head's bigger.
That's popcorn. Do you guys
Right.
call popcorn crisps in the UK?
No,
think
it's
she
all
just-
popcorn.
I
Popcorn.
think- Yeah, I
Yeah,
just think
okay.
she saw the
She didn't know.
bag and
She-
thought it
yeah.
was crisp.
All right.
Yeah. No, you're talking about the whole
No,
biscuit
yeah.
cookie thing.
Alright.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're. Why are we getting an echo?
Where are we getting echo? Echo.
Where?
Oh, it's gone.
Echo.
Harmonic sonics. That's right. Popcorn time.
Actually, I'm just trying to figure out a way I can look at the chat and be in the.
If you think about it, it's time for a luxury food, isn't it?
So I think.
Was that a cigarette?
No. A peppermint fries chocolate cream.
Isn't it time for Girl Scout cookies to come out?
I don't know.
There we go.
I want the
I don't
thin
know
mints.
if you can.
All I did was rattle the packet, woman. You were on the settee asleep.
Yes, Grace Kent has taste indeed.
Oh, yes. I do like the blue one as well, but...
Only when he's not poisoning
What
himself.
about the
with
orange
acid
one?
reflux.
What about the orange one, Kent?
Yeah, no, I like the orange one as well.
Yeah.
What I'm not enjoying is the way they're pricing chocolates now. They're going, you sneaky little bastards.
Order that pizza, Bicky, but don't go outside where a seagull can fucking take it.
Don't order the pizza. It's not keto.
It's not keto, Bicky.
Don't do it.
You would bust our balls if you heard us ordering pizza.
Well, if you want to eat
And then you're going to complain about it tomorrow.
it, call it your cheat day, Bicky.
You like these as well, don't you?
Refeed.
Yeah, your refeed.
Right.
All right.
Look at him mullering
shall
it.
we play
Yeah.
it? It's already 7.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
You go, baby girl.
So, all right.
Have you just scoffed a bar? A whole bar?
No. It broke off 2 bits.
God's sake.
What do you think I'm like?
I know. I'm thinking, wow, has it gone that quick?
We know exactly
Mind you, if you
what
want to
you're
see
like.
me do a whole bar in one go, I will.
No,
Oh,
no,
jeez.
no.
No, don't do that. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to put this in full screen. Okay, so this one has the Foley.
Okay.
And there you go.
I had real trouble there not to break into the Star Trek introduction, Space, the Final Frontier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
exactly.
the other one that's totally silence.
So it's the exact same video, just
Yeah.
no Foley added.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, when presented with something like that, the first thing I would personally do, and I hope I'm roughly on the same lines as Lumpy and all the others as well, is first of all, choose what you think it's trying to portray. Are you looking at it in a very sort of like magical, exciting, new, exploratory kind of way? Because that's one type of music. Or is it sort of like, troubling and lonely? Quite scary in a way, So what mood do you think it's portraying? I mean, it's easier for the real film scorers because they'll have a script they can work to and they'll know what they're supposed to be portraying.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, looking at that, I was going to go, immediately my mind's going to something very sort of like not dramatic, quiet, maybe a little dystopian,
Mm-hmm.
until it switched to the top of the ship going along the terrain. That changed it a bit for me. So, what did you feel from that? Watching that?
Arriving at a destination, the sense of travel and adventure.
Yeah, I got a sense of the same thing. Look, curiosity, that exploration, and then at the end where there's the planet and a distant star, a sense of maybe headed back to wherever you started, or maybe you're going home after you mined certain materials. I don't,
Yeah.
It's hard to know what I think about it without me having, because I'm used to telling me someone how to think about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
being asked, if I'm honest, I'm like, I don't know,
Well, I think the bottom line is that there is no wrong answer to it, for sure. And you go along with what you feel. It suggests to you, without having any sort of backstory to it, without there being any significant soundtrack on there already. Whether it's like engines roaring, that's going to change how you do the music. So anything that you come up with is right, essentially. Somebody mentioned something about it's Asia talking about Strauss with the 2001. That was really revolutionary, and if I remember rightly, there was people who were really worried about them going to use a waltz in a space film. They go, that's not going to work, And yeah, it became iconic. But the one reason that it did become iconic is simply because it's a recognisable piece of music, and the audience saw just how well it worked.
Right.
So whoever the individual was who, in the end, who come up with that particular idea, fucking genius.
Meryl, can you bring up that video without the Foley, please?
Yeah.
I'd imagine that was Stanley Kubrick, wasn't it?
It may have been. It may have been. Yeah.
Because he was very controlling.
Yes, that's true enough.
Every little bit. I think he probably was the one that thought of it.
Yeah.
So
it was a genius move either way.
So did you? So when you see something like that for the first time, and I'm asking you as a person, what's the first thing that enters your mind with your experience?
The first thing that was entering into my mind was whatever it's going to be, whatever this music's going to be, it's going to be sparse and have lots of room between the sounds.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be musical. But like I said, when it cut to the scene where they're close to the ground...
Play it.
Right, okay, I'll run through it with you. Right, so this gives the impression, as long as I can get Space 1999 out of my head, because that looks like a scene from it. So it's very, this is very spacious and looks very much distant and unknown. So the music would be sparse, but here is a different emotion, a different feeling. Because the closer to the ground you are, it's almost like, shall we say, safer. It's not, and you can see everything that's in front of you, ahead of you, so it's not as mysterious. And then back to this very, very mysterious again. So I'd have to work out from that, off the top of my head, how to make the shot where it's near the ground fit in with the two scenes at either end of it,
Right.
But you
and try and
wouldn't-
get a balance between the three scenes.
But most likely, though, if you're scoring for someone else, they may have you look at it and say, "What do you think?" But majority of the time, they're telling you what the story's about and what the director thinks. Correct? So you're pretty much going to go off of.
Yeah. Like for instance, if it was going to be some sort of space horror, then regardless of whether it was near the ground or it was up in space, you have that, the music that conveys that kind of thing, like the score they used in Aliens, for instance, which is, it's setting up the audience, putting them on edge, and regardless of what you're seeing on the screen, because it is the theme of the film over the top of it. But when it's something like this, where there's no narrative attached to it whatsoever, and you can only work from the visuals, then you have to work with the visuals alone.
I don't know if it was James Gunn, but I watched that Zimmer interview last week, and he said that he did a score where I think it was James Gunn. He didn't even tell him about the scenes or anything, and Hans was just making music, and then Gunn would just extrapolate little sections and put them into the movie, and then would turn around and then show Zimmer what he was putting them to, not even knowing that they were fitting properly in their in their place. How often do you get freedom to create like that?
Very rarely. You have to, your last name has to be Zimmer for anything like that to happen anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you see now there's another problem that arises, and this is in a working environment. If you were working with a director or whatever, there's the possibility that music is not required, and sometimes having nothing says more than having the music, if you see what I mean. So just a simple effect, that kind of eerie spaciness sound that gets used, quite a lot.
Play the
And
video
just have
again.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my next question. And we'll watch the video again.
Hang on, give me a minute.
Just so I can confirm, can you hear my pings there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn it. I thought I'd stopped it from happening.
And in
Apologies,
that-
everyone.
Oh, you're fine. And in that interview, Kent, Hans did
mute
not
it.
like that, what Gunn did.
No.
He made it a point to say, this is not cool, and tried to fuck with him in the end.
Yeah. Well, some, composers like to know what the hell they're doing and why they're doing it.
Mm.
And
Let me
just
know when you
Go
want me to
ahead,
play it.
play it.
go for it, Dan. Sorry.
I'll
Okay.
mute myself. No, that should be muted now, guys.
Here's my question. These transitions in my mind, because I, not even a scrub in this, the transitions are happening quickly.
Yes.
How am I to discern the music with these transitions and make it smooth and relatable to what a person is viewing?
Well, there, sir, lays the rub. And that's the thing. You see, but you literally have to think about how you're going to do your transition before you even know what your start, middle, and end is. That transition to that middle scene is the crucial point. Yeah?
Right.
In an ideal world, you would have that first scene and that second scene, and that third scene, and that second scene wouldn't be there at all.
So that
And in the narrative, you don't know why you're suddenly flying so close to the ground
right.
as well, which doesn't help the matter. So it's not so much a question of there are things where you just can't write music for it, but there has to be some give and take between the images that you're presented with and the music that you're going to try and overlay it to make sense. In some cases, you can write music that has nothing to do with what you're seeing on the screen. That's one way of getting around that kind of situation. But it's tricky to know what type of music to do in terms of no relation to the video.
Because you asked a question of how do you feel. So if one said they were sad when they seen the beginning image, and then when they saw the actual surface of the planet, which we don't even know if that was the same planet we saw in the distant, right? And then your emotion changed to security, like you had suggested. And then you don't know immediately after there's the planet that's hiding a star behind it, and it reveals itself. Okay, there's no context as to what order these things would be laid out on film. You're just going off what you feel.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say the transitions are going to be ugly no matter what you do to this? Because the polarity is so, if you're supposed to go off your emotions, in my mind, it seems almost impossible to change the emotion seamlessly. You almost want to go with the first emotion that popped into your mind and stick with it on something like this.
Well, the thing is, you can, if it was a case of doing sort of like, the first thing is very lonely dystopian. The one in the scene in the middle feels safer, and then back to dystopian, could be conveyed to the viewer by doing something as simple of making, say, if you were holding a chord, to make it go from minor to major back to minor, right? And so it'd be subtly there, you know. But this is where the scoring thing gets really, really bizarrely complicated, and this is what makes scoring appear to be so difficult. Is that if you try to write too closely to what you're seeing, the score will be all over the fucking place.
Play it again, Daryl, and pause on the first scene.
Before
but
it
you can't be too
changes?
distant
Before
at
it
the
goes
same
to
time.
the land view.
Okay, hang on.
There's that. You remember this video game? It was called. It just came out back in the day. It was called Dead Space. And in the opening scene, they were on this derelict type ship. And
Shimura.
and they're in space, and they play something like this: "Twinkle, twinkle, little star," in an eerie way with the kids singing it.
Yeah.
Right. This is the score, and it met the feel of this ship in space. Right. So I guess my question to you, Ken, it may not always be theatrical, right? That last scene that we just saw, I was kind of thinking, I did it my way.
Well, this is
like
it.
you could add.
But you see, but like the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star
It's genius.
at the beginning of that, they were armed with what the narrative was ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right, because it's a horror game.
exactly. You know, Dead Space was quite a kick-ass horror game, in fact. And so that was setting up the precedent. This is why they're having horror films. You know, the little weird kid, you know, skipping, singing a nursery rhyme in the old creaky old house sort of thing. And that's just unnerving because it's something happening that's supposed to be all sweet and lovely, happening in an environment that is not.
So we're lacking context, Kent. We're lacking the director's context. Like, so we can pose anything. We can think about anything. But until So if we're watching this now and you're the director and you tell my brother what, like as the scenes are being set up, we could probably take it.
Right. So let's do it this way, Kent. Let's we're both here just puppies.
Well, I tell you what. Take the 3 scenes. Let's not look at it too hard.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You take the 3 scenes. Compose something that is based on the fact that those 3 scenes are representing a story that is magical and uplifting, space travel, and then do another one where there's shit waiting for you at the end of the tunnel, kind of storyline.
Bring up the image of the first scene here, and pause it within like 1 or 2 seconds in. So we go from black to this, okay?
Mm-hmm. So at this very point in the video, right? You know, let's link the 3 scenes together as one scene now.
Okay.
Now, there's 2 ways that you can write this, seeing as we don't actually have a story for this.
Mm-hmm.
This can be very sort of like eye-openingly wonderful and wondrous and an exploration, right? And that will give you one kind of a score. Or down on the blue planet there is something really, really fucking nasty waiting to bite your head off.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be that film. So it could either be a space fantasy that's all sweetness and light, or it's, you know, Aliens 30, The Return, you know? And you write 2 different scores for those 3 scenes. Well, not yet, at least 2 short pieces for it. Because, in fairness, 1 minute is not a great deal of time to put anything of context together. One thing scores like is elbow room.
Right.
I think Andy can make it longer if you want.
Fine.
How much longer?
I think if he was to come up with a video that was 5 minutes long.
As Yo said, 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours would actually be ideal. And could we have a script as well? That we read first?
Well, because you want to get the viewer involved.
Well, yes, because you can't always. Although the music also tells the story, what you got to remember is like, even if you don't know what the film's about, when you're walking into the cinema, there's a poster, and it's giving you an idea of what the hell it is you're going in to see, setting you up straight away. So if you're going in to watch a horror film, you know you're going to be watching a horror film. If you're going to be watching a space fantasy, you'll know you're going to be watching a space fantasy.
Okay. Then let's do this. Since this is what Andy has presented, let's stick on this.
Well, he said he can. He can make it longer.
Okay. Let's stick with this genre, and let's give it a theme, because.
So should we have him do like five minutes?
He also said
cool.
he can cut the space flight, the surface flight out of it.
No, leave that. I say leave that in
No,
there.
because then that's us directing him.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like that in the real world. Trust me.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, the director will be slapping you with a breeze block. You try to tell him how to do his job,
Yeah.
but he can tell you how to do yours. That's the way it works.
Right. Okay.
So,
Do you suggest we come up with a theme once we see it?
see what it says to you.
Okay.
See what the scene says to you. But just out of interest, right now, because in the composing world, from what I've learned from talking to these kind of guys, is what the director would want now, regardless of how short or whether it's got that land scene in it, he would like to hear from you now. You play something to that video.
To the 1 minute video.
Yeah. Just any ideas, and then he can go away and think about what you've played and think about whether that's the road he wants to go with it or not. So you would literally have to come up with something right now, just to give him a taster. So
Almost like an audition.
yeah. So what's in your mind in terms of that 1 minute video? What's in your mind right now that you think might be worth having a crack at?
Well, in the beginning, immediately what came to mind was a reverbish drone,
Right.
Huge, big reverb.
Yeah.
And right when I saw the landscape, I immediately thought, okay, maybe you kill the drone and maybe you settle in, or not settle in, but maybe you kill the drone and there's some piano and a cello or a deep bass sound that suggest the loudness of space is over, and on land you get this this piano and bass suggesting some sort of like peace, that we're going to land here and explore. And then that following scene, it's literally in my mind, it's right back to the big drone, and maybe I hear some like French horns as that star reveals itself from behind that planet, almost like you remember the first Superman with Christopher Reeves, and it was just these big horns, and maybe it's something like that at the end, and it's the decimal range gets loud, and then it's a instant cutoff.
Okay. What I'm thinking from what you've said there is that there might be, because let's always have that little sign up on the wall that says nothing is wrong, but doing music like that to that scene would seem a little too literal, if you follow. And you'd be creating an awful lot of work for yourself, trying to figure out a way of going from that drone to that more conventional scoring instrument back to drone again. So that transition is going to be really difficult because that scene cuts quite violently.
Right.
And there's no like intermediate scenes of like the ship breaking through the atmosphere and everything else and getting to that point, giving you time to do your transition, because as you're doing your transition, as the picture is also changing. Yeah. Whereas this goes from up in space to suddenly you're 50 feet off the ground. So it might, the transition should have to be far more subtle from what it is you're starting off with. So you literally continue with that. But see, this is the thing. This is why I didn't want to do bloody lessons. Because it's like, because what happens is you say one thing and then you go, but on the other hand, and it's like completely the opposite of what you just fucking said.
Right.
How do I just trying to put this into cognitive fucking sentences. The principle is correct, right? Although at exactly the same time, there's no right and no wrong way to do it, right? It's what works. What works for your ears. What you think is like, yeah, that's it, right? So, I think what I'm trying to tell you is that they're the things you should avoid that would just generate a lot of work for you, but may have a result that you're not happy with. Put it that way.
Is there a such thing as laying it up and playing it safe?
I believe so. I think because if you gloss over the fact that it's now close to the ground and it feels more welcoming than it did when it was up in space, there would be people in the audience would prefer it up there than down close to the ground. Do you know what I mean? So, who are you playing to? What story is it you're trying to convey?
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing to do is, like, for instance, where you think about having that big drone, that drone going on and the spaciousness. So in the next scene, although it's, a completely different environment, keep that. And just find some sort of signature sound or small theme or whatever, just to give an impression that, things have changed. But make it as smooth as possible, and then you can have a nice smooth transition to being back out in space again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if it was a 1 minute film of just going through space, that would be easier to do because the environment stays the same. So in a writing to picture scenario,
Mm-hmm.
So like you see, this is when I said to you before about the problem with writing to picture is it's so subjective.
Is it one of those things, Kent, where you either have it or you don't?
No, I don't think so. I think the trick to it is learning to look and make up your own idea, your own story to what you're seeing. You see what I mean? Like when I did that Apollo film, I watched the video, and by the time I'd watched the video, I went, yeah, okay, so it's going to be, when they're landing, they're going to be shit scared. I've never done it before. This is going to be the first time kind of thing.
Right.
So it's all sort of like unsure. So it's all, ooh. And then once they're down on the ground and they're jumping about, it's like, oh, this is fucking brilliant, So it got more optimistic. So bring in the Coron Glaze and the choir and everything. You've got like, fucking hell, this is amazing kind of thing, But it was really still quite hard to do because it's a really short film,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to get everything in, and trying to get it across. But that was the first thing that popped into my head when I saw it, and I ran with it, and it kind of worked. But if I had kept working on it, I think I would have made it worse and worse and worse and worse. So literally, I watched it, and I'd already kind of had an idea of exactly what I was going to do. So the second time I played it, I played it the second time I watched it with it, and I went, yeah, that's cool. Save.
Mm-hmm.
Job done.
Yeah, Steve Elbows is
And-
coming to that same conclusion. He's like,
and
it's
it's-
probably similar to being in the film. You need some direction to get the context from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you were writing, it was David Arnold told me this. If you're writing for a series, you write a theme. And that's technically a piece of piss, because that means you've got that piece of music that goes on the beginning and goes on the end, right? And you make it suitable to what the series is about, and then you can just do variations of that theme in bits and bobs or different ways or using different instruments through the episode. Job done. So it's a piece of piss. And it's the same with doing a movie.
Yeah.
And it's actually more difficult to do this than it would be to write a score for fucking the new Superman film. Would you believe? Because you're armed with all the information you need. And you can see the progression of the story, and you know how that music is going to have to reflect that. But that, on its own, just like that, is more difficult, straight up, more difficult than, say, like I said, doing an entire 3-hour film.
Yeah, Wagyu
Which is why it's good practice to do just that.
Right. I was just going to say that. But Wagyu made a good point. I suppose with the Apollo clip, we knew the context already. as we have background in our minds about those missions.
Yeah. But I must admit, that was the first time I ever tried to put myself into the space suit with them.
Right.
Yeah, I watched it on telly when it was happening live.
Right.
It's mad. It was mad. Although I must admit, the score, the track of the, NASA radio communications I think it was Apollo 9. I think it was a much later mission, but it was available. And it's like, yeah. Although sometimes you do want to be more accurate with stuff, but it got the point across, I suppose, more than anything else. And I immediately thought that had to be there.
Yeah. And that goes back
before anything.
And that goes back to Steve Elbows' point. Like, it's like an actor. You want to live vicariously through these people. I guess you would have to be the same if you're trying to score it. Like you just said, I want to be in that suit with them. I need to see and feel like what the emotion so I can capture this score.
Yeah, exactly.
So Andy says he can extend it to 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which is a heck of a lot better than 1 minute.
Or can you give us 2 minutes, two of those 2 minutes and 20 seconds or 30 seconds, and we could stitch them up in DaVinci and make it a complete 5 minute.
So it'll just repeat, you mean?
So you can give us two different
ones.
Yeah, two different ones that are in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And we could stitch it up as to one whole 5 minute.
A part one and a part two?
No. We could just throw it in DaVinci and stitch it up as
No.
Well,
I mean,
he
the
can
film.
do that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So is there anything in your mind about it right now?
Well, I mean, you kind of defeated the whole drone purpose. I mean, not defeated it, but so now I'm under the impression that if I was to use that big drone sound, I would have to stick with it in many ways, but lessen the thickness of it, and have this way to transition from one point to another without letting on that I've completely switched up instruments here.
Well, there's the possibility that you don't have to do a transition at all. I was telling you about what my first impression of it was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you come up with may work a lot better. You see, this is why you got to just try playing to picture. You got to try playing to picture.
Let's see, pull a video up.
You want me to do it on the projector? Can you see?
So I can turn around and look. Nah, I could
play it.
I could
there?
do it right
Okay.
here and just use.
What about our Scottish friend? Has he got any thoughts on this?
Yeah. What about you, Scott?
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Not
You're
really.
You're really low.
You could do with a few dB, babe.
Hello.
Hello.
Is that better now?
There
That's-
you go.
Aye.
Yeah, I think it definitely needs to be longer, that's for sure.
Yeah, short is difficult.
Yeah, it's like you say, if we're doing transitions between one scene to the next, you need some sort of time to get that done. The video itself looked easy enough to score from what I seen of it. I was quite late in getting in, obviously, today, but it looked like a pretty straightforward one to score, but it just needs to be a bit longer. And it's really all down to how it makes you feel. It's like Kent says, when you watch it, your gut should really tell you where you feel you should go with it, and nothing's wrong. That's the thing. There's no wrong way to do it.
No,
It's
there is.
how
That's right.
you perceive it.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
what you do,
Go
a
ahead, Scott.
million people may like, and then what I do, one person may like, and the other 999,000 think it's shit. So
Right.
But yeah, could you play it in full, Marlon? Are you able to play that for me? Just
Yep.
thank you.
Wait, if you do, let me turn my volume up and
Yep.
try to give a best representation.
I'll mute my mic while this is on.
Go ahead.
And there you go.
You've just scored that on the spot.
You've just scored that on the spot. You've just done Evangelist, mate. There you go.
Andy said,
Sounded
"Wow, that worked." Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Done.
So this is another thing as well. Don't see again. It's this. Do this, but what I said, don't do this sort of thing. It fucking drives me. This drives me mad. This thing. What you just done there works. Okay. Now you could say to yourself, but could I do it better? That's 9 times out of 10 will make it worse.
Right.
Leave it.
Yeah.
Right?
Why do you say that? Is it because you're going to chase yourself, or
because you want to try and make it better? As soon as you want to make it better, you're going to try and experiment in areas that are not what your first impressions were. And normally your first impressions are the most valuable, because that's when you're actually seeing it more intently. When you're watching it several times later, you're not seeing it the same way. It's that instant. If you do it and it go, that works, then that was it. It worked.
Yeah, it's what came natural.
Yeah.
And a good thing to use as well to sort of take you from one scene to another, especially with that one, because it starts off in space, goes down to land, then goes back up to space, is to use like some sort of motif over the top of your over the top of your drone on one of the scenes. So if you're choosing the motif to be the space scene, and a motif could be anything. It could be like in that track when everyone said to you, keep that sample in because that is the soul of your track. That is the motif of that track, and it runs from more or less start to finish. However, you can do that in scores as well. So when you look at a specific scene, if it's a scene that you're looking out into space, it could be anything. It could be a piano going dum, dum, dum over the top of your drone. And as soon as you go down to land, that motif kind of fades out as you go back down to land. But then when you go back to space, that motif comes back, because then it gives people something to recognize musically, that you're now back into that original place where you were before.
right?
And motifs are used a lot throughout, Kent will tell you, throughout scores.
Christ,
It's a big thing in scores.
Yeah. So I mean, you can do this thing where you give each character in. Say you got this 3.5 hour film to do. It's a big saga thing. You can give different characters different themes.
Yeah.
As well. That's another way of getting through the story, and setting up the audience to what's happening or what's just coming up.
You kind of hear that in Star Wars with Darth Vader the most, don't you? They always kind of use that same motif. As soon as Darth Vader's coming, you know when he's coming, because that Darth Vader sort of theme comes in.
Right. So each character has their own theme.
Yeah.
And it is considered a bit old-fashioned now. It was because that was definitely the way it was being done back in the the 30s and 40s. John Williams brought it back, obviously, with Star Wars, and it was met with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
But there again, you see, I think he probably went that route because Star Wars had a 1940s kind of adventure film vibe to it anyway.
Right.
So it fitted perfectly.
And that theme per character or per scene, if you want to call it a motif per character and a motif per scene or whatever you want to call it, doesn't have to be a musical piece. It could be a specific sound.
Yeah.
That you use that, like it may be like a real Bram kind of brassy noise that you use that oh shit, that's that brass coming back.
Yeah.
That means this is about to happen.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of leading the listener into
Yeah, there's
following
lots
the
of little
story.
tricks like that, isn't there?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And that applies to if you're doing like a wildlife documentary even. You can have various kinds of instruments that you use for particular creatures. So, that's another technique, for sure. It won't work with everything. But, it's another tool in the box, as it were.
Yeah. It's just something to sort of keep in your mind that you could think, okay, well, to try and take us from one scene to another, we could try this. It's just another tool, like Kent says, to lead the listener into where you're needing to take them.
But you kind of know when you've nailed it, and normally it's going to be in the first 5 minutes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, that's when you've seen it the most. As weird as that sounds.
So, if there was dialogue, you would really be forced to watch the film before you're introducing anything, correct?
Sometimes scheduling dictates how you're going to work on that film. If you're lucky, you will be presented with a cut film and you can score it. But it's never like that. Almost never. Because even when you've got the film is presented and they're going, oh, do you know what? The director's going, that scene, if it was a little bit shorter, if it was a little bit longer, can we extend that scene? And suddenly your music doesn't fit. Which happens to Ty all the time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it drives him up the fucking wall.
Listening to Christian Henson the other day on the Crow Hill Network's video, and he said exactly the same. He said the director will come along and you'll get all your nice bits and pieces, all your cues sorted out, and then they'll say, no, I've changed that now. Can you just shorten that by a minute?
Yeah.
And can you add something to that, expand it?
Or even worse, I mean, Ty had this with this bloody dinosaur episode that was supposed to be a locked film, and they wanted him to move one note, and they wanted him to move that note just a little bit ahead, because there was something that was happening where this note was clashing with it. And he goes, and they're going, all he's got to do is move one note. I mean, come on. When the template is finally loaded back up again, which takes about 10 to 15 minutes, he has to move all the notes that happen in that event across like 300-400 tracks, individual tracks in the door.
Yeah.
And it's like, and without trying
like
to
an easy
destroy the
fix, but it's
tempo too
not.
much. Yeah. They and that's the problem. 9 times out of 10, the director, the producer, and the editor guy wouldn't know anything about music at all. When it's a dream is when you've got a director who understands music. Like
Which
John
is
Carpenter.
Very rare.
It's very rare.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, the director goes, nah, sorry, I'll do the music myself. And
Yep.
he can nail the score because he knows what the fucking story is.
Yeah. Azio says, do you often get it in pieces? And would you read the script then to know what's going on?
Yeah, you would be given an outline to work with. But like everything else, if you're starting out in this, you are the lowlife.
Mm-hmm.
You're the guy at the end of the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be hard. You have to get to fruit bat's status before you can start going, well, look, when you've got something for me to work with, then present it to me. And bring biscuits, you know?
Right.
But to begin with, but that's why it's always good to get involved with people who are doing, like, you know, amateur films. Because there's more of a mutual level of relationship between...
And schools.
Yeah, exactly.
Film
Yeah.
schools.
There's
Going
a
back
good
to Christian Henson, he says you've got to do 10,000 hours before you're recognised. He says everyone has to do their 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's
Sorry,
a,
sorry to
there's a
interrupt.
good
that's
website
all right.
to join called the QTube. And they quite often do competitions. And they'll supply like a clip, maybe 3 minutes long or so, and just get everyone to score it in their own way, and then someone wins. I entered one, it must have been 2 years ago. It was like an animated, I've actually got it on my YouTube channel. It was an animated sort of cartoon-like thing. And I learned so much from that because it was all to do with tempo mapping your track to sort of reach certain impact points to match the video. So you really had to tempo map this, which is another thing that you'll get into further down the line. That you actually, your DAW that you're using, whether it be Ableton or Logic or whatever, you actually change the tempo so that the music slows down or speeds up so that the impact point of the chord that you're going to bring in is exactly on that point to match the video, so that the chords change at the right time.
Yeah.
Scotty, Azio's asking what the website is.
That's the QTube. I'll put a thing here.
Okay.
But it's one
put
of
a
the
link up.
reasons why Steinberg's Nuendo exists. Because you get Nuendo and it looks exactly the same as Cubase. Everything is in exactly the same pace as standard Cubase. But there are tools that work with scoring. So, I mean, that's what Ty uses Nuendo. I think I can't remember, it used to be like twice as much as Cubase, and it looked exactly the same. I was looking at this going, what? What's different about it?
Yeah.
Why does it exist? Why does it have a different name, and why is it so much more money? But it's all these kind of things where you can do these controlling of tempos and stuff like that within a score, but across the whole thing. So they can tell you frame numbers, and you can find the frame numbers and then do what you have to do. Sometimes it's imperceptible that how much it's slowed down or speeded up, and you wouldn't know it listening to it.
Yeah.
And then it fits the picture. So they give you what they want, and then you can move this stuff around, almost like like it was a gel pack. So you can move all the MIDI data about globally.
That's cool.
Little tools like that, yeah. And if they weren't there, you know, if you were in a normal DAW, you'd be selecting tracks and, you know, doing start end points and stuff, and be fucking around for hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then not always get that seamless kind of movement that you actually require, you know, because you're always going to, you know, if you're moving data within tracks, it's a different kettle of fish to this sort of like morphing that you can do in the window.
Okay, what are we looking at?
So this is the longer one.
Okay.
The
Right, okay.
2 minutes and 30 seconds. And he also slowed down the transition.
Okay.
Night, Davey.
Good night, Davey.
Night, Davey.
Welcome
dreams.
in, James Dyson.
Monkey fingers.
Monkey fingers.
Synth Cat, we saw you in there.
There we go. It's playing.
Where is he getting this video from anyway?
It looks like
I don't know.
that video game Obsidian. Obsidian or something like that. Or
Oh, cool.
it's made by Obsidian.
Are we going to get a copyright for this?
I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Gameplay videos don't get copyright struck.
I thought it was
You're creating it anyway. You're creating it as an original thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so you
exactly.
can
I
make
thought for a minute it might have been a lightwave genius. Oh, hello.
Who's responsible for doing glacial crack sounds and movement of the planet? Is that the Folly?
Yeah,
If only.
that's Axel's job.
Axel Foley.
I just got
That's funny. Where you see the ship going, sweeping into the ravine,
Mm-hmm.
gives a whole different feeling.
Where's the fjords, do you see?
I kind of wanted the ship to land just so you could get a different
Yeah.
end result from it, you know?
I was going to say, pull up,
Yeah,
terrain,
or
terrain.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what? Yeah, you see
Whoa.
that? Oh, see,
Bit
here
of
we go.
cockpit.
Yeah, that's a much better length.
I think I'll have to get this game. Try this on my VR headset.
See? And this is where I was thinking of that Frank Sinatra, when the moon hits your eye. Like, you could do so much with this end
Except it was
result.
Dean Martin, but never mind.
Oh, Dean Martin, yeah. Oh, shit, you know what I mean. There's all the fucking Rat Pack anyway.
And now, for 10 points and $200,
Yeah, that's a much better length.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can work with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, off you go. Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Fuck me. I'm just
Jump to it, monkey boy.
Uh,
No pressure, we're not watching you.
Yeah, no pressure.
Okay, in my mind, I'm going back to the same thing, but now I hear different sounds as I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So
Go
you'll
for it.
have one ready.
let's watch it again. Let's
next
watch it
week?
again.
Okay, hang on. Give me 1 second. All right, here you go.
Okay, and I'm thinking about what Scotty was saying with motif. Have that thing from beginning to end. I got an idea. Go ahead and go back to the beginning.
Let me know when you're ready. Let me know when you want me to hit play.
And there you have it.
Yeah, you done it.
There you go.
Done. Next lesson.
I mean, honest to, I mean, I don't want to belittle film school writers, but at the same time, it's not a difficult thing to do. It's just a case of you seeing and relating to what you see that connects to the way you write. Once you and if you have that, that's it. You got it.
So in my mind, the folly was the whoop, whoop,
Yeah, it sounded like a ship siren, didn't it?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was like that thing that could stay there, and I could lower the decimal range of it to where it's faintly there, but it's there. And then I can increase it to where, oh, okay, you know it's there. So maybe that's a telltale something may happen, or maybe there's something visually that's breathtaking. Or maybe it's like I don't know. The image, the last transition suggested to me that there is this this awe, right?
Yeah.
So maybe the whoop becomes louder. And
Yeah.
then if the keys are slightly in at a certain point when the transition's just before the surface,
Yeah.
it would suggest that that's where the keys just may live on the surface, or those sounds just may live on the surface, and they're not to be reintroduced again because we're taking off into space, you know?
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's not that it's difficult to do. It's just a question of setting yourself up to, you know, linking sound with picture and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is, like in this particular case, there is no narrative to it, you can flow because there is no narrative to it, and all you do is you're writing to what you see, putting what you see into sound, which you did twice,
Yeah.
literally off the cuff. Where the shit really hits the fan is if you decide that you want to do conventional orchestra in your scoring.
Shit.
That's when it really, really turns to shit on you.
Is there room for creativity? Like, is there room for modern way of scoring?
Yes,
Of course there is, yeah.
there is, absolutely. The whole orchestra thing, you know, you can thank, you know, Spielberg, John Williams, and all the rest of it for that. Because the amount of synthesizers that Hans uses is quite substantial.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably just as well considering how much he fucking spends on them.
Right.
I was going to say, listen to a bit of Ludwig Göransson,
Mm.
who tutored under Hans Zimmer, I might add, but he uses hybrid stuff all the time.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's always in there, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll find an excuse to use his latest super duper bit of equipment he's bought.
Uncle Chrome said, hour one down and 9,999 to go.
Yeah.
And like,
There you
how are these hours logged? Do you essentially need to go somewhere, enroll yourself in a program that is going to accredit the hours you put in? And
No, it's a figure of speech.
It's a figure of speech. I think
okay.
it's you can be great at your profession,
Mm-hmm.
but it takes time before people will notice that you're good at your profession.
Yeah.
So what you
It's-
do is
it's your
it's like
resume
building
and
your
what you've
channel. It's like
done.
building your channel
Yeah.
until you got lots and lots and lots of people seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be this great, you know, this channel that's, you know, up in the top 10 or something. You got the plaques on the wall. It takes time, but you just keep knocking on that door.
Right.
So
You know?
you use me as a perfect example. So
Yeah.
I in my industry, when I went freelance, I left 2 companies. where I was managers at both of them and a training manager. I went out in the field. I was losing jobs or wasn't being hired on jobs to people that I trained and who only had like 2 years versus me having 10 years. Why? Because my resume didn't show I had freelance experience.
Yeah.
And so it's all about what's on that piece of paper that you can present them.
You haven't been tried and tested in the
Right.
the actual boots on the ground,
Right.
not just behind a computer screen.
Yeah.
Yep. And mind you, I taught these people that I was losing jobs to. They learned from me, but since I didn't have that freelance experience, they were like, "Oh yeah, no."
But you know, when you go out into these these necks of the woods, anything that's like related to things that are artistic, for instance, people have to get used to what it is you're offering, and it takes time, and it means that you have to do it over and over and over and over again until it sticks. It was the same when I was repairing synths. You know, why would they? Why would somebody take their highly prized, £250,000 Moog modular to me to get it restored when there's other people who've been doing it for years?
Yeah.
You know? But
Very true.
But there's a plus side to that as well, because what you're doing is during that time that people are maybe beginning to see your work, yet maybe not taking as much heed to your work as they should be.
yeah.
You're still busy away in the background honing your craft. And I think it's one of those things. It's whether it's fixing synths or music or whatever it is. You'll be still working away in the background, Lamont, working on different scores,
Right.
doing it your way and finding your own sound. And I think you're less likely to get noticed quickly if you're doing something different, because people are like, well, that's a bit odd. But then once it starts to sink into people, if you're doing something right, it will be noticed. It will eventually be noticed.
Yeah.
So what's the dangers then of Kent? Scotty, is there a danger of you and Kent teaching? Or do you guys have to be critical of what you say and how you're going to deliver the education?
I personally, I think it's not about me teaching you anything directly. What it is saying to you, here's a way of doing it, but find the process that works for you. So I'm sort of like just slapping you in the face, going, just do it, and you will learn from it. Me talking to you and saying, you could do this, you could do that, is just a sort of like, you can't skate, and I'm pushing you onto the ice rink. You go, right, just keep your blades on the ice, and keep your ass off the ice.
Keep your knees bent and look forward.
And keep your knees bent, yeah. And smile, bitch, smile, okay?
Pretend like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when it comes to music, one of the principles I feel is there is no right way and there is no wrong way. Right? You play what you feel, what you like. You can copy what other people do, fine. But be good at what you're doing when you're copying what other people do. Or try to be better than them. But if you just copy them, nobody's going to fucking notice you.
Yeah, you don't
because
stand out.
your name's not known, theirs is.
Yeah, and there's ways of looking at that side of things, because it's very good to sit down if there's a score that you like. Me and you spoke about this the other night, Ken. And if there's a score that you love, you sit down and try and recreate that, whether it be an orchestral one, because you've now got your orchestral bank. And yeah, okay, you're only going A to B, and you're basically rewriting or reproducing somebody else's work, but the amount of things that you will learn in that process.
Yeah, that's the thing.
by just duplicating someone else's score, even if it's just a small part of their score that you love.
Yeah.
You'll learn so much throughout that process that you can then take those skills that you've learned during that and put them into your own thing. So, but
Well, it's like that night I played you that that bit that track
Yes,
that I
that
did
you've got
of
on your-
Pirates of the Caribbean.
yeah,
Right. And I played you that, and that was I said to you, I use BBC Symphony Orchestra to do it. Now, as far as I know, I've got it note for note. As far as I know, but it still doesn't quite sound the same, does it? And regardless of the fact that it was a sample library, it's got nothing to do with that. There's still an element there that's missing that was in that original score, and you will always get that.
Yeah.
But like you say, I learnt a shitload from going through that process. But it has no value to anybody or anything or at all. I've done this bit of music that's already been done by Lumpy here, and that's it.
Lumpy.
I call the dog Slumpy as well now and again.
I
Affectionately.
I know latency is an issue, but to you and Scotty, is there any way you can allow us to hear what you heard from the 2-minute and 30-second video? Is there any way to demonstrate it? What you would do?
Oh. I've no idea. I hadn't thought about it in terms of writing it. What about you, mate?
He was too busy teaching you.
Yeah. I'm seeing
See, generally when I do a
what you're
score,
doing.
what I'll do is I'll pull the video into Logic, and I've got the video there, and then I'll, whether it come up with a motif or chords that I think that suit that specific scene, and then I'll work from there. Now, I may start in the middle of the video and think that's what I like in the center, so how am I going to make the start and the end fit with that? It all depends on what the score is, if you know what I mean, whatever the video footage is that I'm trying to write music to.
But if you could freestyle it right now, is what I'm saying, Scotty. If you could freestyle this right now, what would you, like Kent said, if your balls were pressed and you had to give them a piece of what you thought about it right now, what would freestyle to that? 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
I probably wouldn't freestyle anything. I would just sit and play around with chords. That's the thing. That's why everyone's got their own process.
Yeah.
This is the whole. There isn't a right way, wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's got
Everybody
their own
has
process.
their style.
Yeah. I'm starting to understand this now.
Yeah.
Which you can bring videos into Ableton too.
Oh, we have to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, Panda was telling me the other day.
Okay.
I was like, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it should just be a case of import video. There should be an option in Ableton that just says
Yeah.
import video, and then you can basically write your music to match that. And if there's specific scenes that you think, well, that needs to be an impact point. I actually shared a video in the private chat, Marlon, that was that score relief one that I done, which is it's very short, but it was like a video animation of a little girl that was basically in the woods. It was called Spring. It was like a competition. And that's what that was all about, was sort of tempo mapping and getting specific sounds on the right beat. And you'll hear like there's tuba hits as a rock bounces down the hill. There's various, I can talk you through it as it goes through, and you can really hear. It took me a long time, but it was what an amount of things that I learned from that video. It was scarily good. And the animation was stunning as well. But this is this QTube site. And they do one competition a year.
Oh, let's wait till
Kent's away to get a cup of tea, I think. And that's exactly how I done this score, was I sort of put the video into Logic. I then sort of looked at it and thought, well, these are the impact points that I hit. You'll see it, they're really obvious in the video, like she thumps like a club on the ground, so you think, okay, well, I've got to put some sort of dum chord in here, and you can kind of see there's like a rock bounces down the hill, and you'll hear like the tubas and things that I put in to try and match exactly where this rock was bouncing. But it was really interesting to do, phenomenal job to do, but it took me a good bit of time. So so to sort of freestyle it, it's not really the way I would do something. I would go in and I would sort of say, right, okay, how's this going to work? And I would play around with a heap of chords, and it wouldn't be very good for you guys to listen to, I'm afraid.
Yeah, like Ken was saying, there's no wrong way.
And to be honest, be honest, I just had my Solar 42 sitting right here, and I was already messing with tune on it. So I could go, and Scotty, you know, I'd fuck around in that 42 and get lost in it, and it'd be no problem to go there and go,
well,
okay.
I've been in the green room at times and watched you, and your head's just buried in it. That's not a dig or anything. It's good to watch because you're just sitting there sort of trying different wave shapes and different LFOs.
It worked with the video, though. It worked perfect.
It did. Worked very well.
Very well. Yep.
But that's the thing, too. I guess you would have to keep yourself honest, right? I'm going to tell the wife now, and she'll keep me honest. But let's start logging in hours, and let's see what happens when we get to 10,000 hours. We're doing 365, so if I start it now, a lot of it, granted, I'm not going to show live because it's just going to be me in here at weird hours of the night
welcome to my world.
Looking at film. But I would strongly suggest, Meryl,
keeping track.
let's log it. Let's see what happens 10,000 hours from now.
When you're watching a film, right, you're stuck in front of the TV in the front room.
Mute it?
No. Watch a film, but pay much more attention to the music.
Oh, please, Can't. You don't think he does that now?
Oh, no, I mean...
Damn.
Yeah, I keep bugging her. She can't even watch the damn movie
can we
without
just
me
watch
going.
this without you telling me, oh, it's probably this, and they did that, and then... And
No.
then
I mean, listen to the music. Never mind what's been... how it's played or anything. Listen to the music. Listen to what the guy is doing in relation to the image that's happening.
Yeah, to generate the feels that they're giving you. It's so many different techniques people use.
Funny enough, quite an interesting score the way it works. It's not as straightforward as it first appears when you watch it. Is Batman Begins score. It's quite an interesting score the way it works. There's a lot more to it than you know. When you watch the film, you listen to the music and everything like that. Blah 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 blah. But when you actually listen to the music and watch what's happening on the screen as an afterthought, there's a lot of very interesting things going in that score, conveying what's going on the screen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, you want to play it?
Yeah,
let's play
it.
Scotty's.
Oh, yeah. Come on, here it is.
That was nice.
That was really cool.
Damn.
James
No,
Dyson
hi.
said it needs more cowbell.
Can
Everything
I just ask? Can I just ask, Scotty, have you scored any full-length features?
No, I've never had the opportunity. I wish I had.
Oh, yeah, you should do.
Mm-hmm. I agree,
Yeah,
Steve.
thanks. But I've never ever had the opportunity to do anything full length. But I love doing it as well. It's just something that's. I think it's. I was speaking to Kent about that. Even when I do my dance tracks and things, there's always orchestral stuff comes in. It's just there.
Yeah.
But but you'll hear in that one with the timing because the trombones were going boom 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 as the rock hits the bounces down.
Yeah.
And that's all the tempo mapping that you've got to put in to sort of make sure that those notes are hitting at the right time.
Yeah.
And it just takes time, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist with things like that, so I'll just make sure everything's in the right place. And sometimes you'll think you've got it tempo mapped to all the sort of important points, and then you think, well, hang on, I could actually do something there. So then you have to readjust your tempo mapping to kind of suit, but it's all good fun.
Now I see why you're so anal about keeping our album on the grid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Because
also
it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing.
Yeah, but there's also, this is why when editors phone up and say that they want you to move something half a bar, you want to take out a contract on their life.
Yeah.
Because you've just spent the past week tempo mapping it all, and they go, can you just move that back just a little
Can you
bit?
just move that?
Yeah.
The answer is no.
So no one.
Unfortunately, the answer is always has to be yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
So what does that mean? Like, and we have 15 minutes before we have to get out of here. But what does that mean? Why is it that no one knows exactly? Is there no one standing up for the person that's scoring this film saying, hey, what you're asking is like moving mountains. You have to be very careful when you submit the final product of this film.
Not really. It's what the director and producers want for that film.
What they want, you deliver.
Yeah. It's like so for animators, right? It's a process to make it, right? And so there, I was working with this one lady, and one of her animators, the director of whatever cartoon it was, just wanted to change one scene. It was just one scene. And the animator about lost his shit. And he's like, okay, to you it's one scene. To me, it's weeks worth of work. Because they have to redraw everything and reprogram it for that one scene.
That's just
Anything video or film related is just such a slow process. There's nothing quick about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's always, the compromise goes right up the chain anyway. So like, you know, the director comes to you and says, look, I need you to change this. And you explain to him, well, if I can do it, but it's going to take 5 weeks. And they go, right, well, fine. And it's like, but there could be somebody further up the chain, like a money man, saying, no, this film is going out on May the 22nd. You haven't got 5 weeks. Director comes back, all right, let's compromise this. Can we do this, this, and this, and find some way of doing it? You know? But it's still the director coming to you and going, I need you to do this. But it might be somebody telling him, no, tough shit, mate. And so it's all compromise, all the way right up to the top.
Oh, yeah.
Which you must see that, Marlon, yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Do you, in your line
All
of
the
work.
time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all budgets and timescales and
All the time.
deadlines. It's always deadlines. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you do this for, like, you know, like Ty said, he goes, you know, you'll have something where the guy was just banging on his door. All this, it's got to be done, it's got to be done, it's got to be done by a certain date. And it got done by the certain date, and then it sat on the shelf for 6 months for a completely different reason.
damn.
I was on a TV show in California, and they had to get it out at a certain time. They had to. Because it was a series of things. One was already done. This one was shooting at the same time. And literally, there was no amount of money they wouldn't throw at it to get it done. We were getting paid ridiculous amount of money to stay late, to work 6 and 7 days. It was insane. They were so grossly over budget, but the studio needed it to come out at a certain time. So they threw everything at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's whoever's controlling the money flow,
Yeah.
that budget.
And the reason they want it out on that date is because it's probably financially viable for them to do it at that point
Right.
as well. Or they
Yeah.
wouldn't be,
I
they
think
wouldn't be
that's-
throwing
yeah.
everything at it. You know?
Well,
Right.
and
That's what
and-
Kashtakai is saying too.
well, that and
yeah.
there's a lot of also actors' schedules too.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
this one particular actor on this one was literally not available after a certain date, so it had to be done by this time, because then after that he literally wasn't available for like 2 years.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
But like,
yeah.
you know, like Kosh is saying, the worst 4 words you can have associated with your name, hard to work with. That's
Yeah.
the
Oh,
end of you in the
yes.
industry.
Oh, yep.
And that will travel faster than speed of light.
And that's in any department.
That's the
Any
farrier
any
world too.
department.
The farrier
Yeah.
world. If you're
Yeah.
if Dixon fucked up X amount of horses,
Oh yeah,
that
gets
is
out.
going to travel faster than
Yeah.
you being new to a state trying to get business.
Well, I always say, bad word of mouth runs like spreads like a wildfire with endless amount of oxygen, and
Yeah.
good word of
Absolutely.
mouth spreads like frozen molasses in the dead of winter.
I thought you were waiting to say frozen
Yeah.
marmite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too, in the dead of winter.
Yeah.
It really is. It
Makes the jar crack though.
Yeah, shit.
and it's still run out.
Okay, so what are we looking at as far as homework, Kent? What's to be done for next week?
Oh God.
Score this film.
Yeah, I would say score
That
this film
2:30?
and look at
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah.
I
score it.
have an idea for it too, but I'm not
Well,
going to say.
go on.
Nope, I surprise you
Oh,
because I
okay.
said.
Okay.
get on your JDXA, Marlon, and do it on that.
Oh no, he sold that for
Oh,
something.
so he did. So he
Yeah,
did.
yeah. That's gone.
She-
No, but I have a good idea.
Yeah, and she wasn't liking it anyways.
Azio head, it's in the Discord.
Yeah. So anyone
I
who
could have
wants-
another scoring night, and couldn't you? Everybody
Right.
plays their interpretation.
Yeah, if everybody wants to do it and scores it, just drop me your video unlisted. Send me the link in the email, and we'll do another popcorn scoring night.
My camera's just died. 2 secs.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna do one regardless, right?
Yeah,
So
uh-huh.
I
Yeah,
pretty much
this
I
one.
have to do one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I may not go the same route. You know.
I have
So
an idea.
it's something else you can try.
Yeah.
It's something I used to do for a laugh. I actually ended up doing it quite a lot because it was learning quite a lot. So like there'd be one of these travel documentaries or something on, and I had this JVC video recorder that had an audio in on it, and I'd record a bit of a documentary film. There was one about trains, and it's steam trains in northern China. And it's all this beautiful vista with these steam trains going through and everything like that. And I'd recorded that. And I wrote an entire song to it that would stand alone as a single, actually, afterwards. You could prop it up and it would play like a track. And that taught me a lot because there's no door involved, right? And I'm writing to picture. If you do writing to picture, no tempo indicators, nothing. Just writing to the picture. You'd be surprised how strong a training exercise that is. That when you come to working within the door environment, it makes things really so easy. Yeah?
When you say picture, you mean motion picture or just a still?
Anything you're watching, no, not a still, but
Okay.
ideally, we're watching television and you see something, you go, oh, that's nice. I'd like to write to something to that, and grab it. load it up into. Yeah, I mean, you can load it into your DAW. It'll play whatever frame rate it's running at. You know, whatever the timing is of that particular piece of video.
Okay.
But write to it, not necessarily have the click going because it won't match up anyway.
Right.
And just write to it, and then keep adding tracks. And although it won't be on the grid, sorry Andy, it won't be on the grid, but you're writing to that video, and that and add your tracks and expand and move around with it. It's a great exercise.
Okay.
So it means that when you're presented with a piece of video like that, like you were tonight, you can also then instantaneously think about how many tracks you'd like to put on that, and what kind of sounds, and how layered you want it to be, or how minimalist you want it to be, in a fraction of a second.
Right.
And you just go, I know exactly what I'm going to do to this. Just watch that video through once and go, yep, okay, let's put this into motion and see how it comes out.
Right. Yeah, I think now the first thing that enters my mind now is template on Ableton, and I guess I need to put some hours in on setting up a template. Because you have me in Albion 1, I have other things at play, and in order to keep consistent and stay at it and constantly looking at things and going, oh, I wonder. I think the biggest thing for me at this point now is to set up a template, which Scotty said I should see a lot of these guys' templates are fucking huge.
Yeah.
And phenomenal. They have like orchestras and...
Oh, yeah.
I'm just looking at my TR-8S and 707 going, okay, well, that's one template. But there's other things, and not just an orchestra, but there's the sections of strings, and there's the sections of brass, and there's the sections of drones, and
the
list goes on.
But like the way Ty does it, where instead of like having, when you have a string patch and it's say 70 strings, and you play, a big chord, and you've got this awful lot of strings. This little bastard, he does templates where it's individual violins.
Yeah.
Right, and he slightly changes the tempos of them because not all players hit the note at exactly the same time, and he moves various tracks milliseconds, a little before, a little after, and stuff like that, because it's more realistic. So when he plays it back, he would dare anybody to say, right, is that a real orchestra, or did I do that in the studio? Yeah. So instead of having a big brass patch, individual trombones, individual trumpets, individual tubas. So his template, I mean, sometimes templates with like 580 tracks,
right,
ready to go.
Well, there's Chrome saying Zimmer uses 77 trombones.
In the big parade. Do you remember that track? That song, 77 trombones in the big parade?
That's a blast from the past.
God, isn't it?
Anyway, I was going to say, don't forget the articulations as well.
Yes,
oh, Christ, yeah.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got legatos and sustains and...
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember what they're called, but there's loads.
Yeah, but not necessarily separate instruments. They'll actually be key switches within the instrument.
Yeah.
That's which, thank God. Can you imagine if you had to load up all the different articulations and separate tracks as well? Jesus Christ on a bike. Yeah.
And 101 cowbells.
And 101 cowbell.
How do you articulate a cowbell?
Right?
I have no idea, but that's what they said.
Velocity.
Yeah.
Velocity, Steve.
Throw it in a cement mixer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay,
Tomorrow we're working in the morning. I will post the interview time when we get back. Hopefully it's still at 2. That's what we're shooting for. If not, it'll probably be closer to 3 p.m. We are interviewing Leah, Panda's better half.
So this is Panda's not around as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Get
out.
some
bit of
juicy
honesty.
stuff.
Yeah, so this is
Are you going to
gonna be
ply her with
fun.
lots of wine first?
I was going to say, try and
Yeah.
get her to have a few drinks.
Yeah. I don't think we have to try,
I don't.
Steve.
Yeah,
Shit.
I was just gonna say I don't think we have to try. Yeah.
But there was something we were supposed to ask her that Panda said yesterday. Does anybody remember what we were supposed to ask her? It was a topic.
Oh no,
said.
he said he was supposed to
No, he
send
said
it to
don't
me.
talk about Diana and don't talk about Queen, was it?
No,
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah, it was
Diana,
Diana,
Princess
yeah.
Diana.
Yeah.
Princess Diana.
Oh.
Oh yes, get your Princess Diana jokes ready. That's right. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So don't forget, get your Princess Diana jokes ready.
Oh, I
So
did have
are
a couple,
you
none of them
gonna-
good.
Are you going to name this tomorrow the roast of Panda?
I should, huh? Man, I really should.
I just-
interview the roast
Panda
of
steaks.
Panda.
Yeah, I just wonder what she's gonna tell us about this fucking
I know
guy.
it's gonna be fun.
This embarrassment of a man.
Yeah, this is gonna be really fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kent,
Yes.
as always.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
I didn't
No,
know.
I waffled for an hour.
Yeah.
Interesting waffle, though, sir.
Who do I submit my invoice to?
Yeah.
Oh,
Send it to Marilyn.
Me. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's accountant.
yeah.
and,
And then
and
I'll,
it will be dutifully screwed up and put in the bin.
yeah. And then I'll forget
Dealt with.
WPB.
that I received it. I'll forget
Yeah.
that I received it. I was like, oh
Yeah,
crap.
thanks
you
for
did?
putting me on the spot
I
today
have
too,
no
Ken.
idea.
That
We'll
was really
just
great.
file that
But
under
it
ignore.
worked. Yeah. Ignore. No, file it under spam.
Yeah.
Spam. I don't know why this invoice keeps getting sent to me.
Spam, 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 spam.
Yeah, you did great. That was really good.
Yeah, he put me on the spot. I didn't see that coming.
Well, good.
Good.
But I guess that's what you're supposed to expect, the unexpected, I guess.
Did you
Lesson number
surprise
two,
yourself?
Right?
Teachers
Did you
should do
surprise
that.
yourself?
I did actually. I was like, oh shit.
You go, oh fuck, I can do this. Then my work here is done.
But then I hear Scotty shit and I go, well, okay. It was a good idea.
No.
And thank you, Andy, for the videos. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Andy.
Yeah.
We may need you for quite some time.
And whoever interested, it is posted in the Discord. The playlist is private, but all 3 versions of the video is in the playlist. So choose whichever you want to have fun with.
I'm gonna do the one we just witnessed.
That 2:30. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll be back next Saturday with this edition. It would be the 3rd installment.
Yeah.
I guess it's safe to say if you're going to do this, have it ready by next Saturday.
Well, no, because if we're gonna do it for a popcorn night, probably maybe the following Friday.
Oh,
night.
okay.
Yeah.
So you want to do it on the popcorn night?
Yeah. Just
Okay.
like how we did the other one. I think it's pretty fun.
So we'll just dedicate that popcorn night to what would take place on Saturday.
Or it depends on how many is submitted. Maybe we can do it on that Saturday.
because it
I
makes
don't know.
it makes sense that we do it on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
because talking with the Dixons can be moved aside because that's just
Yeah.
Do that during the
faffing
week.
about. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
So let's do that. Anybody who wants to do this, get in on this. We'll do it on a Saturday.
Yep.
You can find everything you need in Discord,
Yep.
and let's go from there. But ultimately, I know I have to do it. And then, Andy, I don't know what capabilities you have. Is it just the space stuff? Let's hit us up in Discord. Let's figure out what else we can do to progress the score.
The imagination.
Do you know, I was thinking, I don't
Sorry.
know how this would actually work, but if you were just to take a section of video from a said movie, but you didn't have the audio on it and you had your own audio, would YouTube pick that up?
I think if
It
it's
only goes
the
by audio waves, doesn't it?
film, no, I think it's actual film. You can get copywritten by the actual film and not just audio because there's
Oh,
certain
can you?
silent
'cause-
movies that finally came out of copyright.
Because you know when on the pub
Right,
one night
okay.
that Robbie showed that little bit from
Yeah, yeah.
that BBC comedy program. It
Yeah.
wasn't a lot or anything like that.
No.
But it's
And
just enough.
it got the strike, and he had to edit it out.
Yeah.
And I said, "Don't worry, it was a pub. Don't worry about it."
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's Wagyu saying, yeah, there's definitely video-based copyright matching too. I
Yeah.
wasn't
Well,
aware
I'd
of
spent
that. Oh, well.
3 years
Yeah.
trying to get a copyright strike.
Yeah. I know Steve Elbows, him and I had a conversation. He's thinking technology is really close right now to where he can be able to stitch up a 5-minute AI film. But as of right now,
It's really hard.
it's really hard to
Yeah.
keep it consistent.
I mean, the most consistent we've ever gotten was the video
Okay.
with the AI and the humans fighting
Yeah. Humanities.
humanity.
Yeah.
That was like the closest, and that was what was it 3? Was it 3 minutes or no? Was it a 5-minute long one?
No, you know us. It's probably like 12 minutes long.
Yeah, I'm
12 days.
I wonder if
12
we
days.
12 days and 13 nights. But I wonder if anyone knows anybody who's an animator or a film student that just wants to donate time.
The schools. We would have to reach out to schools.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just put it out there in chat. If you guys know anybody who wouldn't mind donating time to progress their
Yeah.
skills, don't have them not look at it as them just giving things away, but progress their skills.
Yeah, I mean
to
they'll
help
get credit.
others.
They'll get credited for the film, just
Right.
like Andy. So, all right, everybody. Thank you. We shall see you tomorrow.
That sounds beautiful, Kent.
I
God
always. I mean,
Well,
I was going to ask him what patch it was actually.
do you know, it's mad. I got thousands of patches on this, and I keep using
the same one.
that CS80 Darkness patch.
It's your favorite.
AO
Is that what it
30.
is?
I love it. Yeah.
I like that
What
one.
is it?
I
Hydra?
but I've manipulated it. I think I brought the low ends. Did I bring the low ends down an octave or up? I can't remember which, but 2 of the oscillators have gone down, and 1 went up.
Is that a preset, Ken? Is that just
good
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, Scotty. It's number alpha.
013.
Yep.
There you go.
Because on yours it'll probably sound a bit the same but different.
I know.
Oh,
I
you're
know.
ma- you're mastering.
laughed there as well.
So very
Oh, you have to-
clear that was.
Yeah.
So the same but different.
Yeah.
013 A01.
Very
You're
sage,
master.
Kent. Very sage.
There you go.
Yeah. I like how I just explain things and everybody going, what the fuck did he just say?
I see, mine's is different. A013 is.
Synth, it doesn't matter what model it is. I understand they've all got the same sounds.
Yeah, but I modified mine.
Apart from
Mine's
Ken's one, which is
Yeah.
modified.
Spiral
Yeah.
bells.
It's
Did
just
you-
he's
did you
asking if
see-
it's a deluxe or not.
Oh, right, yeah. No, I think they're in different places on the
Oh,
Well,
jeez. That's
sorry,
not it.
sorry.
That's
No,
not it.
on the other one. On
That's
the
not it.
49, it's all different sounds, I think.
I'll have a
okay.
look for it. I'll have a look for it. What did you say it was
Oh,
called?
the order's
CS80
different,
Darkness.
Wagyu says.
Yeah.
Ah, I see. But they're the same sounds in different places.
A013.
Yeah, I tried that, but for some reason it's a different sound on mine. I don't
Oh,
know.
yes. I
But then
forgot
I
about the
do
double
make
layer thing.
patches, so I kind of move things around sometimes.
Yeah, well, there you go.
CS80 Darkness.
Do you know what? I'm still downloading contact libraries.
Jesus.
This is day 3 now.
Well, you
But
have
they're big, aren't
a
they?
lot.
And
Yeah.
I
You've
still
lost
got the
a lot.
Spitfire ones to do.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I'd put a shock collar on that fucking dog of yours.
Or I don't
Kent.
know, close the door.
or close the
fix
fucking door.
Yeah.
Close the door.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
fix
right,
the door
everybody.
so it closes. That's a good idea.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, fix it out.
We got to
It is
get
a-
out of here.
It is a door.
It's late, and I got to go cook dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks for having me, guys. It's been
Yeah,
good
of
fun.
Thanks for
course.
coming
Yeah,
in, Steve.
good seeing
It's
you,
always
man.
a blast. Yeah.
Bye,
Because
Scotty.
It's your fault. You're the reason that I'm here. Do you remember we were in a chat room or something? We're waiting for another show to start or something.
Wasn't
you
it
said,
PSN?
"Oh, have you?" It might have been.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
PSN.
it might have
I
been
said,
PSN. You
Have
say,
you,
"Oh,
have you
you-
heard of SOR? Yeah.
I went, "No." He goes, "Oh, here's the link. Come on, we're going over there in a
Come
minute." I
join
went,
us.
"Oh, all right." then."
Oh shit! I
It's
didn't know
always
that.
in
Yeah,
your-
he started it all.
It's
his
always
fault.
in your email, Kent. Your
like how he's
links are
pointing
always
down.
in your email, Kent. In your email, Kent. Kent,
Yes,
in
yes.
your email.
Yeah,
Email.
Okay,
Your link.
I did check my email and there was no link there.
There was.
What, tonight?
Yes. Because how do you think Scotty got in?
Yeah.
Mm.
Every time we go live, it pops up, Kent.
You always have an
Do you know what?
email?
I didn't even get a notification tonight.
Yeah, I hate that.
No, well, there was no notification at all to go live tonight. I've
Yeah.
never seen
Yeah.
that.
It does that.
I just
It's
came across the
YouTube.
stream actually.
Yep.
I thought, oh, they're starting already. It had 2 minutes to go
Yeah.
before they start the stream. I went, wow, that's an early start. Oh, okay.
I thought,
Yeah.
because I was thinking,
Yeah, we
God,
started
look at
late,
the time
actually.
and there's no notification yet. Maybe he's been kicked in the nuts by a horse.
No, shit. Well, we did start late today, so
Yeah.
we had a lot to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
don't-
Late.
You better
But-
not have fucking jinxed me, Kent. 'Cause tomorrow we got a bunch of brand new horses.
Maybe,
Oh,
I
good.
thought it was quite late tonight. Maybe a horse had sucked him off. That cancels it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
He was really wanting to do
Okay,
it.
all right.
He needed
Bye,
it.
everybody. We'll
That
see you
really off the hoof, that
tomorrow.
was.
Yeah.
Aye.
Bye.
See you
See you
tomorrow.
guys.
See ya.